got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnop.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vance, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It is a Tuesday here on the program. Glad to have you with us, wherever you might be. Join us, won't you, in our McClellan Chiropractic chat room, and hit us up on our Professional Go Incorporated text line 391-0788. We got a lot going on today. We're rocking out, huh? This is the rock version of the music you're allowed to play on YouTube. Marva in Miami joins us around 6:45-ish. Then coming up after that, Damien Sordelett from the Roto Times, covering Virginia Tech football. Excuse me. David Smith will wrap up the National Football League as the week ended last night. And then Mike Burnop will join us as Tech heads into their bye week. Hope everybody's doing well. Good morning, Opal. How are you? Good morning, Paul. Hope everybody's doing all right. So I guess the news yesterday, Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline, who joins us on Thursdays here on the program, just to get everyone updated on what's going on in Blacksburg. It's on lockdown. Whit Babcock was supposed to have an interview with local media this week. They weren't sure of the day. They were going to talk about all sorts of things, including the BOV funding. Well, that was abruptly canceled yesterday. So Andy said that the media was told, and I've been told this as well about having people on the show here, that the search committee members have signed NDAs and will no longer comment on the process. So, it's not something that is necessarily newsworthy, except for, as Andy pointed out, it's now being used as justification not to talk about anything BOV related. And they did a whole 180 over that. They said originally they could talk about it, but now they're saying no. So I don't know if this is necessarily a bad thing or a good thing. We'll talk to Mike Burnop about it. We'll see what Damien has to say. Maybe the less that's being talked about at this point is something that might be better. I'm not sure. So I don't know. We shall see. But this will probably mean that we won't hear any substantial information about the committee going forward. And it tells you exactly right now what you can, I think, read between the lines in all this is that Whit Babcock has zero authority within that department right now. It's just the one thing is you hear this and you see the Penn State AD up there yesterday very boldly explaining why they decided to let go of James Franklin. So it is what it is. I know a lot of people were upset. I heard about it in chat. I read some of the comments on Andy's thread on X, and people don't really understand. But I don't know. I just at first I thought this would be something that would bother me, but now I kind of, if you're not sure what you're going to say, then just don't say it. Like it probably says they know they're a bit unorganized with everything. That's probably what they have enough self-awareness to realize that. So why come out and talk about it? So I don't know. So I don't really have a problem with this. Like a lot of people got upset, but I'm not really, this is okay with me that everybody's just going to kind of let the thing go forward. It doesn't really, I mean, anything that you think you have to know, like for instance, if you think you have to know something, you're probably not going to get anything substantial anyway. So just if this is what they're more comfortable doing and it makes the process more successful, then okay. Right? I mean, I thought I'd have more of an opinion on it, but I'm really like, that's fine. That's fine. Let's get caught up on chat here. Let's see. Good morning, Opal. Good morning, Paul. They're trying to sell the Nebraska head coach. Yeah, Matt Rule, a lot of connections to Penn State. Is he that good? No, it'd be a lateral move. I mean, he's a good college football coach. Is he better? Is he a better college football coach than James Franklin? Is he that big of a step up? No, he's not. Yeah, that's a bad home loss for Washington last night in those god-awful uniforms. That's why they lost. Those might be, along with the Titans uniforms are the worst in the NFL. They're basic. But whatever they decided to make those black uniforms, again, black for the sake of black, it looks ridiculous, and they lost. Yeah, it's just an epidemic that's never going to end. Nobody's buying that crap. Morris, here we go. From the Old Mill Golf Course on the Blue Ridge Parkway to the New River Bend in Narge. And now the Nicholas Beach Course in Palm Coast. BDST is on the air. Good morning, Morris. Good. Man, you work Narge in there. I like that. Good stuff. Prometheus says Tech not going to get much money from fans. I kind of get the sense that it's going to be a lot more difficult. Yes, from the way this is going around. So now we really have no idea what's going on. But again, I don't. Okay, you're not going to get anything substantial anyway. So let the process go, and we'll see what happens. We want to thank Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. James Lawson, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg, for sponsoring the program, 540-381-8011, the NRB Super Bowl. They've been around for 25 years. You got Boogie Bowling coming up. It's 9 to 11 p.m., $40 per lane, up to 8 bowlers. So if you get 8 to your buds there, you can just spend $5. Nothing like late-night bowling alley food either. It's good. Good stuff. Agreed, Knicks fan. I'm not a Nike guy, so the uniform sucking isn't surprising. Yeah, there's no coincidence that the NFL uniforms have gone all to hell since Nike took over. 100% correct. But that last night, it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing that they wear that on Monday night thinking, yeah, we're bringing out the all black. We're going to make a statement. Then you go out and get your ass kicked by the Bears. We want to thank Professional Door, Travis Williams and Company, 38 years up in Dublin. Garage doors. Hey, Travis, you're getting a call. We got a call yesterday. Somebody's garage door broke. I said, well, you got the guy now, right across from New River Community College. Expect a call. National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST on YouTube. Thank you, Larry Ramsey. Great time Saturday night. Appreciate that mightily. Got to go out and hang out with all the great folks at National Bank. Ryan Pry, the attorney in Radford, Trust and Estate Planning, 701 West Main Street. And right now, folks, we've gotten 23 people responding to the question, do you want James Franklin as your next head football coach in Blacksburg? 17 of the 23 say yes. That's a pretty large percentage. Your thoughts? Little River Heating and Air, 295 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Give them a call, 540-553-2971. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment for being the title sponsor of this program. New newsletter coming out. We'll update you on everything going on there. Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic Chat Line. And Family Fencing, our first sponsor here. Go see Jason Green and the gang, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Free quotes, payment plans. Doesn't matter the type of fencing. Doesn't matter the material. Give them a call. Give them a call. So there you go. There you go. So 17 out of the 23 say yes so far. We'll see where this goes. But everybody wants James Franklin. Jason Green, good morning. James Franklin, no. My only retort is this. There's a reason Penn State got together with their high-ranking officials and donors and decided to pay the $50 million. Right? Be careful what you wish for. There's a reason I'm told by the people that I know around college football that guy has little respect amongst Power 4 coaches. And it's not necessarily because he's a terrible football coach, just because of the way he handles himself. But everybody's all fired up about James Franklin. The guy whose protege was sent to Blacksburg and was dismissed 3 games into year 4. So let's just say, for instance, he does become a candidate. And by the way, nobody is a candidate. Let's just preface that. Nobody's a candidate. When I told you about Ryan Silverfield, he's not a candidate. He's just somebody that they might talk to, that they will talk to. But think about from his perspective, and everybody's just assuming they know what James Franklin's thinking right now. Would he want to go to a school that fired one of his buddies? I mean, Brent Pry brought the Penn State way to Blacksburg, or what he had learned. He tutored under him for years. That was his mentor. Didn't work out here. Would Franklin look at Tech and go, man, I'm not going to go there? Even if we're just saying it's beyond whether or not you think he should be here or not. And it gets to that point. Everybody's citing recruiting, and I don't know how much more we need to talk about recruiting and how the landscape has changed, but everybody's still stuck in that whole got to keep the Virginia talent. Okay. Yeah. What are you doing with the portal talent? That's where programs now are made. It's going to take a while, I guess, for that to become the norm in the mindset of college football fans, and I get it. Yeah, you want to get the 5-star players or whatever. Does that automatically mean they're going to come here? No, it doesn't. It's going to be the same thing whether James Franklin's at Penn State, whether James Franklin's in Blacksburg. These other schools are still going to have a lot more money to offer from the 5-star athletes in the state. Paul says, a heck no on that one. He would probably rehire Pryor on the defense. No, that would not happen. No, nor would Tech be privy to that. If NFL teams are going all retro with unis. Oh, hang on. I lost your comment there, David, because we're getting lots of comments. They should go single bar face mask too, like Joe Theismann. Well, no. Yeah. Yeah, how about that? Joe Theismann in the single bar face mask. Knicks fan, BT should interview multiple coaches. Correct. Spread the net as wide as possible. There's nobody that you should look at your Virginia Tech and say they're not worthy. Look what you brought in the last 2 hires. Too much baggage, David says. Correct. But hey, people are just all enamored with James Franklin. Let's be honest, James Franklin will be offered from way better universities if he's interested in coaching. We don't know. I mean, he's going to be making $50 million. I mean, he might need a reset. But we don't know. He hasn't made any comments, and why would he at this point? He's still – well, first of all, he's got a big grin on his face because Penn State's going to pay him all that money. But he's got to get into the adjustment. After it sits for a little while, maybe he'll surface and make some comments, and we'll see. We'll see. Morris Stowers, hire Silverfield or Jimmy Rogers at Washington State. Elmation mentioned a higher winner. He did. Boy, how good is Phil Elmation? How much do you learn? I just sat here and was like, wow, this guy. Now, you heard his preference, though, yesterday. What he said, it made a lot of sense. He wants a coach to have been successful at 2 places, if possible, before he come to a Power 4. Or maybe they've been at a Power 4, but it's not on the level. Now, Silverfield has only been a head coach at this spot in Memphis. He's doing a great job. Matthew, that's not, yeah. He can go back to Vanderbilt, and I'll take their coach. Yeah, get Clark Lee to come here to Blacksburg and bring Jerry Kill with him. Oh, hell yeah. Tech would make that trade. Absolutely. Tech coaches used to say being around Elmation in a game was like a tornado. Bud Foster has so much respect. Frank Beamer for Phil Elmation. They used to talk about that guy all the time. I didn't know him. And now that we've gotten to know him a little bit here on the show, you can see why he's held in such high regard. That's a guy. Man, that's good stuff. Good stuff. 100%, Matthew. But I don't know. We don't know. We don't know where it's going to sit. We're going to know even less now. We'll talk to Mike Burnop about these topics as well. We'll see what he thinks now, what this means with the shutdown of information. But I got to be honest, a lot of media people were up in arms about it. And as I looked at it, I was like, okay, all right, good stuff. I get that. Just shut it down. Just shut it down. Good morning, Tootie. How are you? Joseph, who do you feel should be on Tech's replacement list other than Silverfield? It's tough to say because you just don't know who's realistic. You just don't know. I got to be honest. I'm not the only guy that I would, if you're not coaching now, that I think they should talk to, if he has any interest, and he may not, would be Dave Clawson. I don't want any guy who's just been sitting around not in coaching for a couple of years that's just bored. Well, in other words, Virginia Tech can't afford their next head coach to just be some guy who wants to scratch an itch. That's how you get into a lot of trouble. So I don't really want it to be that kind of coach. Who's realistic, who's not, it's tough to say. I know it's going to be a head coach. I know it's not going to be any type of assistant of any kind. So from that standpoint, it makes sense. But I don't know if there's anybody who's just sitting around not coaching now that you would be excited about. Clawson, just because what he did at Wake, I think, is phenomenal. And he had some interest in the job before. And I think he's a very good talent evaluator. He showed that at Wake, especially at the quarterback position, something Tech has not done in a while. So, yeah. Let's not forget, Ricky Ronnie, ODU, but he has the Brent Pry connection. But why not talk to him? Yeah, I mean, I don't know how the majority of Tech fans would feel about that, taking the Old Dominion coach, but he's done a really good job there, especially this year. Prometheus says, I border on giving up without the information. Go LSU, I guess. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I get it. But to me, the shutdown of info wasn't a mega deal to me. Once you sign the NDA, you're pretty much done. And I don't need to hear people talk if they're not saying anything. Does that make sense? And I think that's what we would have gotten if we would have had any kind of interview. It would have just been a weird feeling like the one Witt did with Bill Raw. So, yeah, okay. That's fine. Now, look, if you end up getting a coach everybody's excited about, and you let the committee, the football people on the committee have the majority of the say, and, that'll be exciting. At some point, we'll find out about real candidates. But you see, we're still early in the process of this whole thing. We're still kind of early on it. Now, people are not going to agree with that statement. They're panicking a little bit because of all the jobs that are open. And I want to show you this too, because I copied it here. And this makes sense. On 3 was talking about the fact that here are the mega jobs that are open now. Penn State, Arkansas, UCLA, Virginia Tech, and Oklahoma State. Stanford's open too, right? And here are jobs that legitimately could open because we don't know, right? Think about this. Think if all these jobs open. Florida, Auburn, North Carolina. We're going to talk to Marva about that. More weirdness out of Chapel Hill. Wisconsin. If Oklahoma opens, that Texas loss sent Venables into a hot seat watch. Kentucky, yeah. Kentucky's a very desirable job. And I think Mark Stoops is out of there. Michigan State's in trouble again. They can't get it right. Boston College. Bill O'Brien might be ready to move on back to the NFL as an assistant. South Carolina and Maryland. Think about if all these jobs were to open up along with the other 6 that are open. Then you'd have 16 Power 4 jobs that would be open. And then everybody's going to freak out because of, oh my goodness, all these other jobs are open. How in the world is Tech going to find somebody? So we'll see. We'll see. Morris sent me a note yesterday. I was trying to read this right, Morris, before I talked about it. Florida State. All of a sudden, that Tech game against Florida State seems winnable, huh? If Shane was fired, Shane Beamer, that he wouldn't be interested in Tech. CBS Sports reported that too yesterday, as long as Witt's the AD. Says players love him, no question about it. He can win. I think most of the clamoring for Shane Beamer is because of the name. I mean, Tech fans very eager to welcome in coaches who are being fired at other places. I don't know. I just think that you're not moving forward if you make that hire. The media hasn't been able to ask questions since Pry's firing. There are no questions about the board. Fans deserve better. Now, that side of it's true, Prometheus. I agree that. Because if they're shutting it all down, they can't go around talking to the fans or the donors as much either. So there is that. That's accurate. It's a great point. And I'm going to stand by that. These tech fans do deserve better. They all deserve better. You all do. Because you are the customers. You are the investors. So I agree. I agree with that line of thinking. So the frustration is 100%. I mean, it's there. It is 100% there. But Tech has chosen that. They knew there'd be some backlash, but if that's what's going to help them, then, to me, that's not a major issue. I get it from a fan's perspective, though. I really, really do. I really do. Hit us up on the professional door text line. Why can't the NFL, David says, get it right? That was embarrassing last night as a lifelong, he says, Redskins fan. Yeah, those uniforms are the worst thing in the NFL that they think is cool. Hokies Rock says, yeah, shut it down. Stop sending emails, phone calls. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. And yet they want fans to double up on donations. Yeah, I know. See, you're right. That's the other side of it. From a fan's perspective, they're just, hey, so in other words, you're saying you're going to keep us all in the dark if you're a fan. Yeah, I agree. USC Beamer player lift out. Would that be an upgrade? I don't know what that means. It's early. I think everybody that still is in the Shane Beamer camp is because his name is Beamer. Is that what you want? If he is fired at South Carolina, and I think we're going to find out this week if that becomes more than just a possibility and turns into a probability. Let me look up. They've got a winnable game during this gauntlet this week because Oklahoma now is in some trouble. Yeah, Oklahoma lost their first game to Texas. That's a winnable game for Shane in South Carolina. Right? Oklahoma is no longer, you don't look at them the same way. You just don't. By the way, how about Vanderbilt being favored at home this week against LSU? Who knew? I think if Shane loses a home game to Oklahoma, the AD is already involved, new AD. Matt Harmon used to work at Radford, good friends with that AD. Matt left Radford, went to Tech for a year, and now he's at Coastal Carolina. He's a marketing and sales professional. And he knows that AD. He's known him for years. He's a younger guy. Says that guy is very aggressive, and that guy's going to want his own guy in there. Keep an eye on what's going on in South Carolina. Shane, first thing Sunday morning, fired his offensive line coach after they lost at home. That didn't come from Shane. Well, I mean, it did, but I mean, he was urged to do something. Hokies Rock. Is that happening, Hokies Rock? We've noticed you haven't renewed your football tickets for next year. Is my favorite call. Is that you're getting that? That's true. Is that happening? Prometheus, Shane doesn't get the South Carolina job without the last name Beamer. Probably correct. I mean, that has a lot to do with it. Now, he did pay his dues. He worked at different places. He got opportunities, though, because of the same thing. Hokies Rock. Yeah, he's gotten a few of those. That's interesting. That's interesting. Hey, we noticed you haven't renewed your ticket. Yeah, let's talk about that. Let me tell you why. So in any event, in our attorney Ryan Pry fan question of the week, you all seem to want James Franklin. Can't wait to have James Franklin here. We'll keep you updated. It'll go through Thursday, and then I'll announce on Friday. But 17 of the 23 entering today of the answers wanted James Franklin as the new head coach. So there you go. There you go. Okay. I think if it were to happen, how does VT fire a Beamer if it didn't work out? Just not sure he wants to follow his dad. He has said that. He has said that. And he has felt disrespected. He felt disrespected through the Brent Pry hiring process. If you saw, and I pointed it out right after the game, right the next day after that Sunday game, that was a very cold meeting of the coaches at midfield. Hoagie's Rock says they don't stay on long when you start talking. Interesting. Steven Seeger, is a son of a coach ever taken over? And if so, been successful? Ooh, that would take some research, man. Whew, help me out here, peeps. You're the smartest listening audience on YouTube. Has a son of a coach ever taken over? And if so, been successful? I don't know, man. I'd have to sit back and look and think. I can't think of a son of a coach. I mean, you think about all the great coaches that's been around college football since, we grew up. I mean, I can't think of one, no. Not off the top of my head. Maybe I'm just missing somebody. A son? I mean, Tom Osborne didn't have a son as a coach. John Robertson at USC. I'm just trying to think of the really good coaches when we were growing up. Joe Paterno. Now, his son is in coaching, but not, wasn't a head coach. Jay Paterno. Bo Schembechler, Woody Hayes. I think you're probably right. Skip Holtz, was he successful? Skip Holtz? He was for a while, I guess. Wasn't that his name, Skip Holtz? Oh, that's a good one, David. Yeah. Jim Moore Jr. had some success. UCLA probably rused the day they fired him. He hasn't really gotten UConn going the way he wants. But I don't know. But yeah, I can't think of any off the top of my head. Oh, thanks, Knicks fan. He says when he visits his dad, he's going to get his dad to subscribe. He's going to subscribe his dad for it. He doesn't even know. Even I told him how. Thank you. Tell him it's free. Yeah, we're getting close to 600. Next goal, 600. Let's get there. Tell your friends. Tell them it's free. And if just one of you gets someone else to subscribe, we'll be at 1,000 before you know it. And then I'll be good to go. Joseph says Tech should hire Franklin and tell him his pay is his severance pay from Penn State is his salary. Yeah, we don't know any of the motivations of these folks who are getting fired. But that list was something. And you're right. Somebody, they left out Florida State. Let's look at Florida State here real quick. Let's look at Florida State here. So Florida State, they're at Stanford. Ooh, they should win. They should beat Stanford, right? All right. So Florida State has Stanford, and they host Wake. They go to Clemson, of course, then Virginia Tech. They go to NC State and Florida. I think that's one to keep an eye on. They have completely collapsed, Florida State. I agree. I think it was Wayne yesterday. Virginia broke Florida State. The Virginia overtime loss broke Florida State. When that game was on the line Saturday at home against Pitt, Pitt was destroying them up front. Tell you one thing, Pat Narduzzi, he's a damn good coach. Been at Pitt now, 11 years? He doesn't get nearly enough mention. That guy's a good coach. Paul writes in, here's another problem to think about. If you get a guy like Ryan Silverfield, he does a great job, and in 2 years another program wants him, unless you can get that money and keep the coach. Yeah, I mean, there's always that risk if if he does come in, let's say he turns Tech around immediately. Now, I'm going to watch because I'm not sure who they play this week. I'm going on now that I know what I know from the people that I've heard it from. And I know the majority of you don't want Ryan Silverfield. You want James Franklin. Oh, I know that. You've made yourselves loud and clear about that because, the connection with Memphis is a no-no. But, boy, the connection directly to James Franklin is just fine from Brent Pry. Who do they have this weekend? Trying to find Memphis here. I'm going about it the wrong way. I'm going through all the games. They're just looking. Okay, they're at UAB, who just fired their coach. So Memphis is number 22 in the country. 6-0. They play UAB. They should win that one going away. That should be easy shakes for them coming off a bye. Oh, then they've got South Florida the next week. There we go. All right. Now you got South Florida and Memphis on the 25th. That's a game you should be watching, Tech fan. Number 19 and number 22. They go to Rice. They'll win that one. Then they've got Tulane, East Carolina, and Memphis. So what you have there is a recipe. What we have here is a failure to communicate. What we have here is a recipe. If they knock off South Florida, Tulane, you're looking at you're probably looking at your Group 5 representation in the big tournament. You think maybe the vibe might change around Ryan Silverfield if all that happens? No, because we want James Franklin. We got to have James Franklin. He can recruit the state. Okay. We're going to completely ignore the fact that Penn State was willing to have to pay $50 million to get rid of him, but that's okay. Yeah, we know Brent Pry directly came from there and utilized most of the things he learned from Franklin over the years, but that connection's fine. But we don't want the guy who's at the school, the same school that Whit Babcock's first hire came from. Don't you see how terrible that would be? Even though he has no connection whatsoever. Oh, we're just having a little devil's advocate fun this morning. Good morning, Rodney. How are you? I've heard that from several schools, Joseph. Yeah, people are begging, and I have heard that Nick Saban cannot stand this life he's living now. As a matter of fact, Phil Nation, who knows Nick Saban extremely well, said the same thing. He's not this crap of being on game day, and that's Nick Saban is just like, okay, all right. Maybe he does dive back in. He's in his, early 70s? There's not a program in the country who would give a damn about the age of Nick Saban. Although, at one time, we know that Virginia Tech had a problem with age. Indiana's number 3 in the country. Wow. Oops. Saban doesn't need any money. So I'm not sure that would be his motivation, but it sounds crazy, but I could see Nick Saban seriously considering getting back into it. Yes, I could. I could see that. You can just see him. You can just see his soul melt away when he's on set. Now, I don't watch game day because it is everything that's wrong with college sports, but television. But you can just see his soul melting away. Wayne says, we might want to look in the mirror. We are probably near 100 in the country. Memphis is 22, and we turn our nose up on him. Really? Hey, we just got 2 more no's for James Franklin on text line on our BDST fan question of the week. So now that's 17 out of 25 that want James Franklin. Paul says, Wayne, I hear you. Just like no one wants Crystal, but they will go to White Castle. White Castle's terrible, by the way. The Saban Verbo commercials are top notch. You know, he's really good. Yeah, he is. He's very good. He's very good on TV. The commercials. He's very good at commercials. And look, I'm not starting a rumor, but I agree with the thought process. I can see Nick Saban being intrigued by a certain job. I can see Nick Saban being intrigued by a certain job and really considering, you know, he's in good shape. He looks good. He stepped away because I think he wanted time to assess. Everything he does is calculated. He's a football coach. To assess the way the portal was going to work and how the revenue sharing was going to fall. You could see Nick Saban going, I'm back in the game, folks. And there would be every opening, legitimate shot would be that he would be their first call. I remember when he got the job at Bama, first run of the show, and I said, I didn't have a camera then, but I was sitting right there saying it's over in college football. Alabama, the Mafia, Nick Saban, dynasty. People scoffed. Okay. Yeah, you would take him in a heartbeat. Marva in Miami joins us here soon. Marva, if you're watching, I sent the invite to both of your emails, so you should be able to get on today. Yeah, he just wants to win. He loves the coach. He's a football coach. He's not a commentator. He doesn't fit in that environment. It's something he's doing to stay around the game. He's making money without the stress. Maybe he had a health thing he wanted to take care of. You know, if somebody has a health issue, we don't know. We don't deserve to know. That's up to them. That's personal between them and their doctor. So you don't know if something was going on and he was just like, all right, I need to, maybe he was having a stress issue. Maybe his cholesterol levels or everything. Maybe the doctor was like, you need to get away from a while. Maybe now that he's got all that regulated, that'll help. But he's smart enough to know, too, now that he's older, that if he decided to get back into the game, he would put good people around him to hire all that other stuff. Right? Yeah, it's true. And the media is in fear of Saban. Talk about not getting info. Oh, yeah. Yeah. He'd come to the press conference and just be like, do we ask him a question? I don't know whether we should ask him a question. Is he going to destroy our soul? The answer is yes. Yes, he would. So, and no, I have not. Timothy, thank you, on our professional door text line. I haven't heard any other reciprocal interest so far from Tech regarding coaches. Silverfield's the only one I've heard that Tech will talk to. That's it. I haven't heard anybody else. I'll start asking around about James Franklin and just see what people say. Saban and Belichick in the same conference would be crazy. Well, I don't know how long Belichick's going to be around. That whole thing is so bizarre. What would happen if Saban said yes and ended up at VT? You should throw a party in Blacksburg for 2 weeks, run around naked in the streets. Whoever made that hire, they should all be praised. Throw gold coins at them. Nothing but medium rare ribeye steak. Yes, that's what would happen. That's what would deserve to happen. If you pulled that off in Blacksburg, can you imagine how much money would be raised? They would reach their goal that they're asking from the patrons the same day Nick Saban was announced at his press conference. That's what would happen. The same day. Morris says, tone down that naked comment. Some things you can and see. Wayne says he would go streaking. Now, that's what would happen. Yes, that's what would happen. All right, we've got Damien Sordelett coming up, David Smith, Mike Burnop. Right now, there she is. Marva in Miami joined, wearing Tech colors today. Hey, look.
Yes, I thought I would show some love to Tech today.
Hokies girl. Wow. Yeah. Look at that. How are you?
Ooh, I'm doing all right. I feel like it's been such a whirlwind since I was on with you the last time, with UNC football. So much stuff.
Let's get into it. Well, first of all, I want to tell you that people have been saying how much they're enjoying you. They're enjoying seeing you here on the new format.
Oh, well, that is so nice. I like being able to hear from them while I'm on. I can see their comments. That's kind of nice. Yeah. Some of them are a little scary, but.
Well, they are. And I have to deal with them every morning. All right. Well, let's get into it. It's weird. Everything, the weirdness around it. What are you hearing? What are you reading? I know you follow it very closely, being a Chapel Hill grad. What's the reality of the situation right now?
Okay. Well, early next week, the first time I realized that there were some serious things amiss here. Early last week, I think it was Monday of last week, a local TV station had this bombshell report about the UNC football program, where they were saying there are big divisions in the locker room between all of those 70 guys Bill Belichick and his team brought in versus the Mac Brown guys who stayed. And I mean, I could see how that could be an issue, but just on its face. But what they're saying is that Bill Belichick and his team are making it worse by treating the players differently. So like if Belichick's players don't show up for a class, or if they miss a workout, seems like nothing happens to them. But if Mac Brown's players, his old players do the same, there's a crackdown.
Really?
That there's a problem with the new players are getting benefits the old players didn't get. And by benefits, I mean things like tickets, allowing your family to have access to the field, things like that. Whereas in the past, everybody was treated the same, whether you're the star quarterback or whether you're a guy who, is not expected to see any action unless there's like a blowout or something. You still had to be under the same rules and you were treated the same way, because that leads to a certain level of unity and accountability when everybody's treated the same. But that is a problem. And I think when I read that, it felt really believable to me, because some of the stuff we've seen on the field, It's like there doesn't seem to be the unity that you would like to see with your team. And that's a great way to start it, by treating players differently. And from what I've seen from these players who've been brought in, I'm not seeing a lot of superstars. I don't know, why this would be. That report also said there are a lot of problems with parents, like the communication with parents wasn't so good. And I could see how that would be an issue, because of Belichick and his staff. They have a lot of NFL experience. In the NFL, I'm sure you're not dealing with people's parents, right? You're dealing with agents, or, and so parents are feeling left out. They're not being communicated with the way they would like. And, one thing about Mac Brown is that he had a very much a family atmosphere. He believed in that. We are family. His wife was known to like bake cookies or cook for the guys. And it was just like a different environment. Well, he's gone now, and it's not like that. And I think when UNC brought Belichick on, they were thinking about, okay, it's going to be like an NFL team. We have NIL now. People are getting paid. It's more like the pros. In some ways, yes. But in some ways, it clearly isn't. I mean, everybody is not getting this big money. I mean, think about how big a football roster is.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's not getting that. And you need to find a way to keep everybody happy, but make everybody feel like they're a member of the team, like we're all in this together. And that seemed not to be in place. And then like midweek reports were coming that Belichick wanted a buyout, and that he was going to have to pay the university $1 million if he walked away. And I was so disappointed to see that, Rick, because I was like, wow, so you're a quitter,
I know you sent me that. You said, hey, so now he's just quitting? Yeah.
I did not like that at all. And I said, I couldn't believe it, because, we talked about how we thought he had a level of pride. and he was going to stay for 2 or maybe 3 years to try to turn this thing around, and also so he wouldn't do damage to his legacy. And so when these reports came out, I was very disappointed. I know it's been a rough start to the season. I know those 3 losses have been bad. They've been ugly, but it seems like, where's your competitive fire? Don't you want to be the one who turns this thing around? Well, yesterday, he had this press conference and he said, these reports are untrue. I don't want to leave. And I did also hear from some friends over the weekend that he was seen on a recruiting trip in the DMV area. And so that made it seem like, well, why would he's not on his way out if he's out there recruiting on his bye week? So, maybe
Jordan wanted to go up and watch the leaves change.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. But the thing is, I hope that all that stuff was false. But I do see how there may be a divided locker room and dealing with the personalities. I mean, you have personalities, of course, anywhere you're playing. NFL, you're going to have personalities. You're going to have personalities in high school. But I just feel like the college game, you have to navigate these things in a different way than you do with pros. With true pros. I mean, you've got parents who are feeling slighted. And when parents are feeling slighted, they're going to talk to their kid and they're going to say, I don't know if we'd be treated like this at another school.
Correct.
Correct. At that age, when you are, I know they're adults, but they're young adults. When you're 18, 19, 20, 21, your parents are still very big influences in your life. And if they say, I'm not sure about this program, you're going to seriously consider it. So I just feel like there's a learning curve. As he's mentioned, there's a learning curve. He's got to figure out how to do it at this level. It is different.
It's not the same. I think you're right on it, though. I think it was almost a naive approach that they came in thinking, oh, well, we were in the NFL. It's all about money. We know how to handle money. And it's not.
No, it's not all about money at college. No. Even though there's a lot of money, we know there's so much money rolling around. I mean, I think I read that Gio Lopez, I don't know if it was like $2 million. The quarterback I'm not very impressed with. But yes, there's a lot of money, but you're just dealing with people at a different level of maturity. Like I said, parents' influence is still large at that age. And there's so many traditions. Like they talked about changing traditions. And I know that UNC doesn't have this, big football tradition legacy.
Well, what they have, they're proud of,
Well, yeah, but there's still things the program does. There's still things, if you have extra tickets, you share these with your teammates. You don't sell them, which is there's one of the reports that players were selling them versus sharing with their teammates, and that's always been done. Of course, at one point, of course, it was not permitted. You couldn't sell. You had to give away. But still, that was a thing. You shared with your teammates so that their family, if your family wasn't as big, so they could come and see them. It's just, I don't know how they fix that problem, but they have to fix it. I mean, bottom line, everybody has to be under the same rules. I mean, you can't have that. You can't have some people are special. And you start to question, are they really that special? I mean,
no.
We know.
No, they're not.
No, they're not. I mean,
clearly they're not.
Program, usually there's some top guys, right? You know who the top guys are on your team. You know the ones who are most highly recruited. These days, I'm sure you know who has the most NIL money, right?
Oh, sure.
But still, you can't tell them there's a set of rules for them and then there's a set of rules for everybody else. Because what does that do to your team unity? What does that do to morale?
And I wonder about the rift in the athletic department because Bubba Cunningham got overruled on this. This wasn't – he got donors to go to the president and they just left him out of this. So it's interesting because this is a guy who's a successful AD and he's very well respected in the industry, yet this happened and he didn't really want it to happen. So he's sitting back going, yeah, I knew this is what did you expect? But he can't say anything. He can just go out and support his go. Oh yeah, we're all behind him. Go, Bill. And really, he's going back with his little, Ouija board or his little voodoo doll.
Pins in it. And there's also reports that the GM that Belichick brought in, who was supposed to help manage all this stuff, is not so popular with the players or the parents, and it's not a very friendly guy. And you think about in the NFL, it's like, maybe it's not about making friends. But here, being nice to someone's mom, it goes a long way.
It goes a long way. Long way. It does.
And, in that early report, it was said that Bill Belichick didn't even reach out to the parents. I think it was saying to the spring game or something. He was not communicating with them. And in the old days under Mac Brown, parents had his phone number, right? Parents had his phone number. He was known to text parents if there was a concern about a player, like is something going on, with the family, what's happening, or I'm concerned about this kid. And I mean, I know you like to make fun of him, but
no, just say he
think he has a reputation.
Very tired. He was a very tired guy. That's all.
He has a reputation of being someone who took care of the players. And
he did. That's fair.
They respected him.
He did. He did.
Even when things weren't going so well on the field, he was still there. He was that kind of presence. He was.
He never threw the team under the bus. You're right.
No,
he
never. And that's something I respected about him. I really hate it when coaches do that.
He never did. He never did. You going to beat California on Saturday?
I hope so, Rick.
You got to go 3,000 miles.
I hope so. And that game is so late. It's like
it's 10:30. Yeah. You going to stay up? You going to take a little nap of yourself?
I have to. I may take a nap, though. I may take a nap because it's going to be long. And if Carolina's losing, it's going to be hard. Because I have early Saturday mornings. My kids do activities.
Friday
night. I got to watch, right? I got to watch.
It's Friday night. I thought it was Saturday night.
Yeah, Friday night.
Friday night. Okay. Oh, that's good. Friday
night. Late.
It's late. Yeah, it is late. Yeah. It is late. But still, Friday night.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's exciting. So I'm sure you will be watching, and all of the viewers.
I will if I'm up. I'm curious to see how they travel across country and come out. Now, I won't watch the whole thing, but I want to see how they come out. Plus, California.
You'll tape it, right? You tape. You can watch it later.
Yeah, and California is Tech's next opponent.
Okay, so you do a little scouting for them.
Yeah, do a little scouting. Do a little scouting.
Okay.
Of the Golden Bears.
Yes.
Well,
I'm hoping for the best as always. I always hope for the best.
I know you are, right? You're very optimistic, and that's what's great about you. How's the family? Everybody good, by the way?
Everybody's doing great. Everybody is doing wonderful. Like I had to, before I came on this morning, I had to do my daughter's hair in a special way because they're having a special day. They have to wear flowers in their hair. It's a long thing.
So are they teaching them to be hippies? Are we going back to the 60s? Is that what we're doing?
No, it's Hispanic Heritage Month. And so for every day they're doing, like on Monday, they had to wear either their favorite soccer jersey or a soccer shirt.
She gave all that up. She gave all that up.
No, so I bought her a shirt with a soccer ball and a bunch of colors, and she wore that. And today it's a flower in the hair or a hat. And every class is doing a country project. Her project is Cuba. And so I had signed up to bring some Cuban soda. I looked at first to make sure I could buy it around here. Of course you can. There's a lot of Cuban people around here. So I'm bringing Cuban soda. That's my contribution to the big party on Friday. And I hope it'll be good out.
Well, you have a good party, and then you got your Carolina game late Friday night. There you go. Can't beat it.
And just one thing, I know it's almost time to go. I have to tell you, Garvey's class did Guatemala. And the day before his party, he said, I have to bring in a Guatemalan dish. And I was like, I'm sorry, what? I Googled Guatemalan dishes and quickly decided, okay, I'm not making anything. Let's see if there are any restaurants around here.
Yeah.
And this was like at night, Rick. It was dark.
Did you find something?
Yeah, we found a restaurant, had to sit my husband out there. It was closed. Okay. And then there was like a gas station nearby. He went in there to ask him, what's up with the restaurant. And they actually had Guatemalan, some kind of chocolate drink in the display case. So he bought
just got
some of
Yoo-hoo and said, hey,
it wasn't Yoo-hoo. It reminded me of Yoo-hoo, but it wasn't Yoo-hoo. It was, I forget what it was called. But anyway, it had corn in it and chocolate. I don't know, whatever. But Garvey said some of the kids liked it, some didn't. But whatever,
well,
we got it done, right?
I'm sure so. Hope somebody didn't break out into hives after drinking that.
Milk, basically.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, good luck on Friday.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Give my best to the fam.
Will do.
All right. There you go. Be good, Marvin. Marvin Miami joining us on the program. Great stuff. Coming up a little bit later on, David Smith will round up the National Football League, and then Mike Burnop. And we'll get his take on the game, the week off, and other things that are bouncing around the Virginia Tech Athletic Department. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. Everybody's doing that, as well as our professional door text line. And we segue from one outstanding guest into the other. Damien Sordelett joining us, the Virginia Tech football beat writer for the Roanoke Times. What's up, DS? Good morning, man.
Not a great morning. Need to Corey Crockett Merritt to actually hold on to the dang ball. Man, I know that was a bad handoff with him and Jaden Daniels, but golly.
That's a bad loss.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I felt like I was watching Virginia Tech at some point because self-inflicted wounds. Like,
bad loss.
Get out of your own way. That's
bad
no
loss.
Hill Maryland this year
In awful uniforms. But anyway.
Hey, I got a Logan Thomas jersey in that style. So
yeah. Black for the sake of black.
Hey,
anyway.
I got it when I was working I got it when I was working in Lynchburg, and he's a Lynchburg guy. So
that's well. Then no, that's I get that's fine. He's a Brookville B and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we won't talk about the game yet. Yesterday, Tech announced that you can't talk to Whit Babcock anymore. It's over. And at first, people were pushing back. But let me ask you, as a media member who was looking forward to that conversation, what was your first reaction to the news?
It added up because I got Eddie Royal is politely declining your request to talk to him while both of you are in Atlanta over the weekend. So like something in the back of my mind was going, something's up, because Eddie Royal, the day they announced the search committee, was on the Jim Rome show talking about it. And now a week later, he's not talking to us. And then I was in a text thread with David Teal and Andy Bitter, and I brought that up, and and Teal brought up, if memory serves me correctly, Whit Babcock did mention NDAs in his interview with Bill Roth, and I went back and I was like, yes, he did. So it was a matter of time, because I think at some point you want to button up these things, and the timing is awfully interesting. The day after James Franklin's fired, and the day after you would think the number one target and the number one available coach comes on the market, you start buttoning things up because you're getting in touch with his agent and you're figuring out, okay, what's your thought of coming to Virginia Tech? And you don't want that to get out there. You don't want to be out there saying, hey, we're going after we're targeting James Franklin, and now everyone knows it. So it makes sense. You're getting to this point where you kind of need to button things up, and hopefully behind the scenes, how you're spending this money and how you're structuring things and how you're going to allow the head coach to have whatever control over how things are structured, you're presenting that to these coaches. And then we can be told later. So would I love answers? Yes. Would I like to be able to tell your listeners, my readers, here's what's happening? Absolutely. But it's at a point where they're like, we need to button this up. We need to not have different messaging going one way or the other, where Bruce Arians going on the McAfee show, Royal talking on the ACC network where he works. You don't want messaging to get cross. You don't want them to maybe spill something that you wanted to keep, kind of just, under wraps, so you're not tipping your hand in terms of which way you're leaning, because then that gives the agent some leverage to say, okay, Virginia Tech wants my guy, and he goes to another school and asks for more money, and now all of a sudden Virginia Tech has priced itself out. So I can see how that plays out, and I understand it. Babcock actually mentioned
he did.
Disclosure agreement, so nothing we can do about it now.
Yeah. Damien Sordelett joining us. He's the Virginia Tech football beat writer from the Roanoke Times. And that was my thought too. At first I was thinking, does this bother me? And I'm like, no, I get it. Because to your point, whatever they're thinking behind the scenes, you can't have all sorts of different messaging that's just being bounced off. So it makes sense from that standpoint. Now, a lot of fans are upset because, they look at the lack of transparency, but I think it harms the process. So I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, but we don't have to ask about the football coaching search. I'd like to know the hierarchy.
True. Very true.
What's the structure of this new modernized athletic department? And are there what's Witt's role? And more specifically, has anyone within the president's office, the board of visitors, privately said, "Hey, Witt, we have trust in you to be the athletic director"? Has there been a vote of confidence? Has there been
right? Yeah.
But again, Witt shouldn't be answering those questions. That should be coming from the president's office or the board of visitors. That type of question. But they're not going to say anything.
No, they're not.
John Rakovich is going to make sure no one says anything.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have to. Once this process is over, there will be a lot of questions to ask. And again, I don't think we'll be able to get a lot of those answers until the whole process is complete.
Well, going back to Saturday, your time in Atlanta at the game. The only thing I think that really stands out to me is they played really hard. I got the effort immediately, and that's something you can credit Philip Montgomery. That's continued despite all the distractions, despite all the changes in personnel. Those guys are playing hard. Even a guy like Kyron Drones, who's not the guy that Tech wanted him to be, he's out there playing his tail off, and I have a lot of respect for that. They were obviously outclassed by a better team, but from that perspective, it's interesting to watch how these guys are really going out there and playing hard every Saturday.
Yeah, that was I think the takeaway from all of us Tech beat writers Saturday was the effort was there.
Yeah.
They're down 18-0, and I'm thinking, oh no, this is the second half of Vanderbilt and the first half of ODU all over again.
Yeah.
And then they go down to score, touchdown, make a stand in the red zone. Granted, they've allowed a red zone score every time the teams have gotten in there, but you made some stops. You held them to field goals.
Yeah, that's a win.
And also Haynes King on 3rd and short or 4th and short wasn't converting, which had been something that hadn't happened this year. Teams were giving up those first downs to him. So credit to, especially the freshmen who played really well. And the fact that you got 21-14, I was like, okay, there might be some juice here. But then Georgia Tech was like, all right, let's go back running the ball. Let's just do what worked in the first half. And they reasserted their dominance. I asked Joseph Reddish this after the game. I was like, so what's the difference now versus Vanderbilt and Old Dominion? And he mentioned that Philip Montgomery has mentioned his entire message has been play with joy. You're supposed to have fun with the game of football.
Yeah.
And if that's the messaging, there's a part of me that wonders if Brent Pry maybe got a little too transactional at the beginning of the season because he knew this was a make or break season and he had to make it. And maybe you change your coaching style and and it gets to you, and instead of, hey man, great play, I wish we could have made it, but the effort was there. Instead, he gets upset about it because he understands his job's on the line. And maybe some of that became transactional, and maybe that's why it seemed like the locker room got lost. Again, this is just me spitballing off the top of my head.
Sure.
But you can see, like, with the messaging of Montgomery being, hey, play with joy, have some fun. This is supposed to be a game that you're supposed to play, that you grew up playing in the backyard, and we saw that on that 4th down play where Drones shovels it forward to Jerikas Hairston for the touchdown. That was something that you kind of draw up in the dirt. So it seems like they're playing with more joy. They're having fun. I know it's not fun to be injured, which a lot of the players are.
Yeah.
And
they need this week. Yeah.
They need this week off. And I think they've had, 21 players ruled as out for the game, which is the most in the ACC. And then, so, yeah, that's, you have to come in Virginia Tech. I mean, they need to get healthy.
Wayne's asking, did you notice fighting on the sidelines or something? They said they talked about it on TV. I don't know. I don't remember.
I read about it on the message boards because I didn't see it. The Hokies were on the opposite side of the field, so I don't know if I got a good chance to see it. I did. They mentioned it was like between the wide receivers and Fontel Mines. Fontel Mines is one that you do not want to cross because he's a big man and he's
he can handle it. He can handle himself.
Oh, he and J.C. Price can handle themselves. I don't know if it's between the wide receivers. It might just be frustration, just because they don't know everything that's going on. When they're running the routes, they don't know everything that's going on with terms of what blitzes are coming. Was the protection set? Is Kyron making the right read? That seems to be the sort of thing that can get squashed very quickly in terms of that. But I kind of want to see that. I want to see them fired up. I mean, I don't want to get to fisticuffs here, but you want to see some fire and some passion on the sideline. That means they care. The moment a play doesn't work out and you go and you just sit down on the sidelines and there's no emotion, that's when I get worried. So if there's something where there's some fighting and there's some words being said, at least there's some passion there and there's some, hey, I still want to win. I still want to fight for everything. So I like it. I'm okay with that. And if it doesn't go any further, if there's no punches thrown, if it's just guys are frustrated and they're venting and because they want to win and they want to do well, I'm okay with that. Heat of the moment, perfectly fine. Sure.
Yeah. You'd rather have that, like you say, and just guys kind of being like, is it over now? Can we go? Can we get back on the bus? Can we go home? Right? Yeah, exactly. Well, and one final thing. So far, we do our fan question of the week, and people are overwhelmingly supporting the idea of James Franklin being the next coach in Blacksburg. First of all, we don't know what his mindset is about that. He's going to make $50 million over time from Penn State. Would he be your leader in the clubhouse? Let's say things did develop. He's going to have some options, what he wants to do. Kind of feels like he's going to take some time off to me, but we'll see. What do you think?
He's number one far and away.
Why is that? Why do you immediately go there with that? Because most people are.
He's won. He won at Vanderbilt. He had how many double-digit win seasons at Penn State? Andy
not enough to keep his job though.
Andy brought this up on the TSL podcast yesterday. He has the same one-loss record against top 5 teams as Frank Beamer, and Frank Beamer's got a statue in front of Lane Stadium. That's because James Franklin, even though the big game record is not great, double-digit win seasons, 9 win seasons. Virginia Tech fans would kill for that right now because if you're winning between 9 to 11 games a year, that means you're in contention for the playoffs. That means you're contending for the ACC title. That means you're winning games against non-conference Power 4 opponents. That means you're showing up and on a weekly basis, you have the best chance to win. Yeah, do it. And I'm going to think long game here, and this is all a hypothetical because you don't know what James Franklin's doing. There's a clause in his contract that he has to look for a job, whether it's coaching or in media. So he has to look for a job. So I don't know, I would say, instead of jumping right in and getting a head start on recruiting, especially the high school recruiting, maybe take the rest of the month off and go on a vacation, relax, clear your mind. And then, around November, then start do the feeling out process. But if Virginia Tech were to land James Franklin, he adds Brent Pry to his staff in some role. I don't know what role that is.
Does Tech want that?
Here's why. Player retention. You can keep most of this roster together instead of having to rebuild it through the transfer portal. I'm going to mention North Carolina, and when you have to add 70 players from the transfer portal, that's the result. Now, granted, there's more issues than just the players they brought in because it's a whole circus over there. I would be okay with that because then you retain players and you don't have to do as much heavy lifting in a shortened transfer portal window because you only have one instead of two. You have a chance to keep the players that you have verbally committed in the high school class and have a chance to get the guys who have decommitted and haven't committed elsewhere, get them back in the fold. Like that
I don't see that going over.
I understand that's probably not going to go over, but you at least give yourself a chance to not have to rebuild the entire roster. That's why.
Maybe.
And for everyone,
but there's no guarantee, though. There's no guarantee that Brent Pry being there is going to salvage the roster, though.
No, but he's not going to be the head coach. Yeah. And we saw that as a defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt and Penn State, those units are really good. So that's why. And if you can retain Noah Chambers, Sheldon Robinson, Brennan Johnson, JoJo Krim, some of these really good freshmen who are going to be playing a lot over these next 5 games. I see the comments. I know.
Yeah.
The only thing
I'm just going to say it. That's not going to happen, Damien. There's no way Brent Pry is brought back into this program. No chance.
I get it. But that's just me thinking off the top of my head. You bring in someone who recruited these players but
he wasn't playing those players. Now they're playing with Philip Montgomery and they're playing well and they're playing hard. So if they had some kind of intense relationship with Brent Pry, I don't think we'd be seeing what we're seeing out of those guys.
Well, those guys are also playing because you have so many players who've entered you've had the players at certain positions enter the transfer portal and injuries. Brent Pry would probably have to be in this position anyway to play those freshmen because injuries. You're gonna have to play them.
Yeah.
So,
well, if nothing else, you've woken up the chat. They're fired up now, so that's great.
Hey, I'm happy. That's fine. I mean, I'm not a columnist, so I don't write a lot of opinion pieces. So this is my chance to come out and say, all right, well, here's kind of what I was thinking the other day. I agree. Matthew here saying Franklin, Wisconsin, or UF.
Virginia Tech. If he does want to coach, Virginia Tech's not going to be his first.
And Luke Fickle's gone soon from Wisconsin.
He is. He's failed.
Andy knows good and well how long the shelf life is for Luke Fickle at his alma mater. The schedule doesn't get any easier for Florida, so I can see Napier being gone.
It's going to be interesting. And I'll tell you, if these other jobs do come open, there's a lot of speculation.
Yeah.
You could have like 12 to 15 major jobs open before the whole cycle's done.
Yeah, and they brought this up on the TSL podcast yesterday about, why weren't coaches fired earlier last season? And that was all because of the revenue sharing. And you didn't know the $20.5 million. You're like, okay, well, we don't want to shell out the buyout for the coach because we have to put this together for the 20.5. So now that if you have you have rev share in place moving forward and you can find some money for a buyout, you can do that. Fuente's not coming back as an OC. He's got a nice job with the college football playoff. And I will say this, Fuente was not the coach for this era. Andy can probably speak on that more, but from what I've gleaned from listening to him, Fuente was more of you're listening to what I say. I'm the coach. I've been in this. I know better than you. And instead of
just wait until James Franklin gets to a job. That's why that guy. Trust me. You think Justin Fuente was high maintenance? Woo! You had not seen nothing yet.
Yeah, but Franklin's one at the Power 4 level, and you can kind of get away with some of that stuff. Again, like Franklin moves up to my 1. Matt Campbell is still up there as my 1B. I know not great at the result from this past weekend. Dropped him out of the top 25.
Yeah.
But he's a good ball coach. And again, Iowa State's resources are limited because they have that budget deficit in athletics. Again, it's going to be interesting how this coaching search plays out. Again, Franklin makes sense to me because I know sour grapes from Penn State because that's where the pride came from. But Franklin's been a head coach. He's been a head coach for a long time. So he's done this. So it's not on-the-job training. And again, like they mentioned in the chat, you don't have to retain pride. You don't have to bring back pride. That was just me spitballing a possibility that,
sure.
Hey, it could help retain the roster so that way you're not building from scratch because you only have 15 days with the transfer portal window and you only have you don't know how many players are entering the portal and you don't know how many guys are going to be able to sign out of the high school ranks.
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty. There is, but the money's going to be there, and depending on who they get, it's all going to depend on who they get.
Right. And I'm just thinking, if you can get Franklin early, he can get a head start on the signing class. Because that's December 4th, I think. It's the day in between Virginia Tech's 2 ACC SEC challenge games. Like the women play one day. There's signing day, and then the men play. So it's a really busy time around Blacksburg. Yeah, that's the only reason that could work. And again, I don't think pride needs to be a package deal with Franklin to come here. No. But I was just spitballing that idea.
Yeah. What are you going to do with the week off? Look at you. You get to watch football. You get to chill and watch football.
Oh, yeah. I'm watching college football.
That's what you're going to do.
I am watching.
Pre-scout California Friday night.
Do that. I'm going to watch a lot of college football. Might get to see UNC finally win a ACC game.
Yeah, we'll see.
Might get to see FSU win a ACC game. They got Stanford.
They should win that one. Yes, they should.
And if they
lose
that one, my preseason pick of Virginia Tech actually winning at FSU is actually going to look somewhat.
It's possible. Yeah, possible. Absolutely.
Honestly, when everything transpired, I think the expectation was Virginia Tech's winnable games were like Wake Forest and Cal. Dare I throw FSU onto that if that happens?
They'll quit. Yeah, if they start losing, like last year, they quit.
Oh, yeah.
Norvell. They would do it again.
Again, and that's another situation where that job could come open.
I agree. 100%.
That job could come open. UNC still has the possibility of coming open, even though Bill Belichick was like, everything was categorically false about all the reporting.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see.
Yeah, we've gotten better since the spring. Yeah, where's the documentary that we can see that? Oh, wait,
right.
That got shelved.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a wild, wild time. The next 2 months are going to be just bizarre and how all this plays out. It really is.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'd like to just cover football games.
I know. Just go to the game and write about the game. I know.
Yeah. So I see the chat is heavy no on Franklin. And you know what?
Well, the chat is, but yet I'm doing the question of the week, and about 80% of the people on the text line are wanting Franklin. So it's split. We got a split going.
Yeah. All right. I'm sure the chat might change their mind if I resend the whole, bring Pry in to retain the roster, do a job to retain the roster.
Yeah.
If that's the case and he can build his own staff completely without anyone currently at Virginia Tech, that could work. I mean, the freshmen who are playing right now, their red shirt's going to be burned because Philip Montgomery doesn't know if he's going to be working on the staff or not next year. So he's going to do everything he can to win this year. So, JoJo Krim, Noah Chambers, Robinson, Johnson in the secondary, those guys, their red shirts are going to be burned because they need to play. And we don't know how long a lot of these guys are going to be out for. We don't know how long Christian Ellis is out for, anything like that. So, it'll be interesting to see.
It will
also, the dominoes fall. If Matt Rule decides, hey, I want to go back to my alma mater and coach at Penn State, that means Nebraska's open.
And then Nebraska's open.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot that could happen. So we don't know. That
we don't.
We honestly thought Virginia Tech making the move so early would put them in like a prime position to find the ideal candidate. I don't think you realize that with Penn State opening, there's going to be a domino effect.
That's exactly right.
Because of that. I'm just regurgitating everything, they said on the TSL podcast yesterday. And,
no, that's true.
Honestly, Andy Teal and I were having this conversation Saturday on our walk from the stadium to the hotel. Like, would Penn State move on from James Franklin, and would Virginia Tech be interested? And I think all of us were like, yeah, James Franklin to Virginia Tech would make a lot of sense because he's won, but we didn't think that was going to happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be wild, man. It's going to be really wild, really wild.
So another thing with Franklin is if he gets another job, I think the buyout goes down to $18 million, which is much more reasonable. But if you're hiring him, you could hire him for say $5 million a year, and then Penn State's got to pay the other $3 million for a time being, so you can save some money and maybe put it into your assistant coach salary pool, your support staff, your recruiting budget. You can try to find a way to move that money around that you're saving by not paying. Like if you were to hire James Franklin, you could say, we'll pay you a little less on this end so Penn State covers the rest. And then that $3 million a year we can divert to what do you think we need to improve on? So I agree with Wayne. Franklin probably wants $10 million a year.
At least.
The problem with that is then I think that would negate anything Penn State has to pay. I'm just thinking of how can this help out for Tech, where they say on this front end we'll pay you less per year and pay you more once the buyout's over. So that way you can divert some of this money to recruiting, support staff. Again, this is all hypothetical.
Well, that's all we have because they're shutting everything down. That's all we have. All we have is hypotheticals at this point.
And Wayne brought this up earlier in the chat, and I saw this before it started getting flooded with me bringing up Franklin and Pry. He mentioned, do you not trust the AD to go out there and deliver the messaging? I'm shocked with what not being on the committee that he actually signed the NDA. Or was asked to sign the NDA, and I have a feeling there was one person who required everyone to sign the NDAs, and that includes those who are on the hiring authority.
Oh yeah, had to be.
And again, I would be fine with Witt talking to us. I would be fine with someone from the Board of Visitors or the President's office talking to us. Someone needs to communicate what's going on, and hopefully we get that later. Excuse me. So, again, it goes down to the trust, and Wayne brought this up in the chat. How are you going to convince donors to give more than what they already are if you're just essentially closing down anyone who can report everything?
Yeah, that's right.
And then say, trust the process.
Yeah.
What's the process? Because I don't want it to seem like Virginia Tech's just throwing money at a problem and not knowing what's going to happen with it.
Yeah, 100%.
We see that happen in politics all the time where people are like, we're just going to throw a lot of money at this. That doesn't work.
Doesn't fix the problem. Yeah.
It doesn't work in college athletics either.
No, it doesn't.
So you need to have a plan, we have a concept of a plan. You need to have a plan in place. And that means making sure everyone's on the same page when it comes to who's going to be the next football coach at Virginia Tech. And
we'll see if anything breaks this week, man. And you enjoy your college football coming up.
I don't think anything's going to break this week. I don't think anything's breaking for a while.
I mean, like nationally. We might have more national stuff going. Who knows what might happen this weekend. Seems like a coach is losing their job every week. So
the only thing breaking at Virginia Tech might be some people who are getting upset about certain things being withheld. But
well, brother, thanks for your time as always, DS. I appreciate you, man.
Glad I woke the chat up.
Yeah, you did. That's awesome, man. You got everybody fired up. That's what it's all about. Yeah. All right, brother. Take care of yourself. Stay safe. Enjoy your week off.
Will do. All right. Talk to you later.
Damien Sordelett from the Roanoke Times, the Virginia Tech football beat writer. I got people fired up. There you go. Yeah, we'll get into that. Right now, join us on the program to get into the National Football League. He is the Radford Hall of Famer, David Smith, our NFL correspondent. What's up, David? How are you?
Hey, I'm good, man. From one DS to the other.
That's right. Not BS, but DS.
No B. B as in
no
boy.
BS here.
D as in doggone it. But here's what's funny. That's a hard act to follow. Your listeners are immersed in all things tech, and so am I. And so then I get to come to the pro leagues and try to give you a smooth transition. I know.
We need to take a breath and get away from it.
Oh, I know. Listen, I provide the toy land because right now it is a fire drill over at Hokie Land and with James Franklin now exiting stage left. All of a sudden, Rick, it's just going to make that pool even more. It's going to make it tougher in some ways to get who they want. It's just going to muck up the waters a little bit over in Blacksburg. So we'll see how it goes. But before we get into this, I just want to take a moment to give you your flowers because you're not going to talk about it enough. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony on Friday night at Radford University. And for those of you that are listening, that I know you want to talk about tech a little bit, but give me just a moment to shine on this guy right here with the headphones on. He spearheaded a Hall of Fame banquet on Friday night that was, Rick, second to none. Shout out to you. I mean, we talk about it a lot in our little silo that is Radford University, how that event is one of our flagship events. It always delivers, and Friday night was no exception. And I'm not that biased because my wife was an inductee that night.
Of course not. No.
It's been that way, even though I may be slightly biased. In this particular case, it was warranted because it was a great class, 5 great inductees, wonderfully done. Everybody got to see each other. It was homecoming weekend. So shout out to you because I know it was a labor of love for you, and that doesn't just happen overnight. I'm sure you guys been grinding for months on these events.
It's a grind. Yeah, it's a grind. But it's worth it. When it pays off like that, and I appreciate the kind words, brother. I really
man.
do. But there's so many people that are involved. But it was really the class and the emotions. Every speaker. Everything I read about each in Hall of Fame meet got immediate reaction from the audience. It was almost like we were at a concert or something, and I was getting the audience to sing. It had a different energy and electricity. Heck, we were blowing out microphones. There was so much electricity.
That's crazy, right? It was crazy. And what was funny is every inductee, when they were announced to come up, got a standing ovation. And everyone. And when they sat down, they got a standing ovation. I mean, that's unprecedented, and that's unprovoked, and that was real. So shout out to you. It was a really good night, and so shout out to you for that.
Well, I appreciate that. It means a whole lot coming from you.
No problem, brother. No problem. All right, NFL time, baby.
Yeah, let's get into it. It concluded last night. Horrible loss. For Washington, those horrible uniforms. But let's go back to some good news. Also wearing black, but at least it's part of their color scheme. The Panthers starting to show a little bit of life. Cowboys, less life. Big win for Carolina on Sunday against Dallas.
Well, in this region of the world, the New River Valley, we attach to Carolina. And so the fact that we've not had a lot to cheer for since Cam Newton's great run, which is coming up on now against your Broncos. I guess that was the Super Bowl. Shout out Peyton Manning. That's probably been about 10 years ago, 15, 10 years I think it was.
10 years
Which is, that's crazy when you hear that out loud.
That's crazy, yeah.
That's crazy. 10 years ago.
That's depressing.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm going to say, did I do anything these last 10 years? What in the world? But So Carolina decides that they're going to go 3-3 and shock everybody. No one had that on their bingo card. But this is what happens with Dallas. We were starting to feel them a little bit. They were, at that particular time, 2-2-1, that inexplicable overtime game, which you and I just hate so much. And it just lays out there now. A lot of people say, well, it beats having a loss. No, but it doesn't give you a win either. So that could end up being the thing that keeps them out. And so you got Dallas, and Dak Prescott is not the problem, Rick. He's not the problem. And you and I have talked about Dak a lot. Dak Prescott has been more of the solution than the problem for these Cowboys. And you know how you know that? Whenever he doesn't play, you're worse by far than you are when he does.
Destroyed.
Yeah. It's not even close. So in this particular game, Dak puts up 27 points, throws for 261, no interceptions. And had they won the game, he would continue to be in the discussion for MVP. But no, Dallas's defense is, when Dallas and the Ravens defense are vying to see who can be the worst
in the league.
It feels like the world's upside down. That just can't be happening. Maybe so much for Dallas, but Baltimore, it is part of their DNA, and they have no DNA right now. I mean, when you think about them, although Sunday they showed glimmers of hope, but while we're not going to get into that game, they held the Rams to 17 points, didn't produce a win for them because they couldn't get anything on offense. And a lot like the Dallas game, you're talking about them not being able to stop Carolina. Carolina gets the ball back with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, Rick. And Dallas never gets the ball back.
Never touched it. Yeah.
Never touched it again. So you're talking about Carolina now at 3-3. All three of their wins have been at home. Here's what's funny. You watched the Falcons handle Buffalo last night. And I mean, they handled them. They won that game. There was no fluke in that one at all. Who knows who's any good anymore? But what's interesting is that Falcons team who handled Buffalo last night, Carolina beat 30-0 earlier this year. Now, that's probably the weirdest game of the entire season that makes no sense. Although now that you look, they're now 3-3. They beat the Falcons at home. They beat my horrible Dolphins last week because they decided not to play after being up 17-0. And then they beat the Cowboys on Sunday. Meanwhile, their losses on the road were to the Patriots. That looks like a pretty good loss now. The Jags and then the Cardinals, which is inexplicable. So Carolina's now at 3-3. Bryce Young, who's not the favorite of a lot of people, probably because of his slight build and his quiet demeanor. Everybody wants their quarterback to be 6'4" and 220 and stand in the pocket and be a yeller and screamer. But he's got him at 3-3, and Canales is the coach, and he's got their ear really, really playing in a good place now. But let's not bury the lead. It was Rico Dowdle who called out Dallas before the game. He used to be the running back for the Cowboys. He's now at Carolina. He was backing up Chuba Hubbard, and he told Dallas before the game he was going to come and do work on them. Rick, he tells you he's going to do it. You allow him to come in and do it. 30 carries, 183 yards in the game. Dallas gave up 216 rushing yards in the football game. 27 first downs to 15. So Carolina with the win, they are now at 3-3. They now, again, don't find the banana peel. You hear me say that every week. They now have to do what you had to do last week. Play the 0-6 now, New York Jets in New York. That could be a game that the Jets could feel they could get right on. Meanwhile, if you're Dallas, you're now at 2-3-1 with the Eagles losing and with Washington losing. You had a chance to move up in the division. You didn't. You're now 2-3-1, and they play Washington Sunday at 4:25 on Fox.
The Colts 5-1. I don't know how, but they are. They beat the Cardinals, game they could have lost. Colts could have a couple more losses they don't have.
Including Denver.
Well, that game was over. NFL said, we're going to just make up some penalty. Let's just make it up.
I love to mess with you. I love to mess with you on that one. I love it. Thanks for taking the bait.
The story of them is Daniel Jones. Giants, he was given up for dead. He couldn't catch on anywhere else. He was there for a while, and now here he is in finding the right offense. It's amazing, the reclamation project that is Daniel Jones.
Well, there's three of them this year. There's him. There's Baker Mayfield, and there's Sam Darnold. Again, Daniel Jones, anybody could have had him. And in fact, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't he on the Vikings roster last year?
He was. He was on the Vikings roster, yeah. And Darnold and Daniel Jones.
And there you go. And so, but they're all in on JJ, so we're going to find out what that's about as the Vikings come off of their off week, I believe it is. So here's the Colts, a 31-27 winner over the Cardinals. The Cardinals, I can't figure them out at all, other than to say that maybe the Kyler Murray experiment is over in some ways. That's what a lot of folks are saying. Why do I say that? You bring in Jacoby Brissett. He's had to have been on 9 teams, Rick. It just feels like he's had 9 bites of the apple. 27 of 44 for 320 yards. Jacoby Brissett, doesn't it feel like he's been around forever? I mean, people forget, played at NC State, for those of us that remember him being an ACC quarterback. Daniel Jones, another ACC quarterback, played at Duke. And even when the Giants took him, there was a lot of head scratching going on because folks weren't sure if he was going to be the guy. But if you're going to take the guy, you got to develop him. He wasn't a finished product. Well, the Colts have decided that he was perfect enough for them because Anthony Richardson wasn't developing, wasn't ready, wasn't the answer. It doesn't hurt, Rick, to have Jonathan Taylor in your backfield, too. And probably the running back in the league who you don't hear nearly enough about is Jonathan Taylor. All he does is put up numbers each and every year. 123 yards in the game, averaging 5 yards a carry. 150 yards rushing for the Colts is enough to complement Daniel Jones, who also moves well with his feet. In the meanwhile, Tyler Warren out of Richmond, Penn State's own tight end, 6 catches for 63 yards. What a great rookie find he has been for them. So the Colts now are 5-1. It's interesting to note they are 4-0 at home. So 4 of their 6 games have been at home. They go to play the Chargers on Sunday, a 4-2 Chargers team. That's a 4:00 game. And you'll be a Colts fan in that particular game. You need some Colts love to help you out against those Chargers. Meanwhile, the Cardinals, it's going to be decision time for them whether Kyler Murray is back and able to play, whether they keep Jacoby Brissett. Trade deadlines are looming. If the Cardinals aren't quite there, are they going to start to bail water on this particular thing? They now have the Packers, a 3-1-1 Packers team, 4:25 on Fox on Sunday.
Well, speaking of the Eagles, maybe the Broncos supplied the blueprint. I don't know. But the Giants just went out in the second half and just dominated, shut them out. Just incredible to see. Scatterboo kid can do some damage, it looks like, between the tackles. NFL watched what he did in college, decided they weren't going to take him to the middle late rounds. But in any event, Jackson Dart said it from the get-go. Why they were trying with Russell Wilson made 0 sense. You and I talked about it.
100%.
He hasn't been able to play for a number of years now. He's also a detriment to Indy Clubhouse, and yet you bring in this rookie, and his enthusiasm is infectious. And that team immediately got behind him and couldn't wait. We've said it a lot. Nobody knows more about who should be on the field than the players in the locker room. They're sitting there watching, what are we doing with Russell Wilson? Get this clown out of here. Jackson Dart should have been there from the get-go. The Giants could have a much different record right now.
Rick, yeah, it's so true. Amen to you, brother. I can almost throw this segment away. You just answered it all. But here's the funny part about it too, Rick. Adding to what you said, when Dart got dinged in that game, and I was watching it, and they brought Russell Wilson in, the pass that he made that was a short hop to the receiver, that crowd ripped him so bad. In fact, it was so bad, I almost felt sorry for him. And you could see Brian Daboll. He broke every protocol to get him out of the game. He's lifting up blue tents. He is checking on. He is poking at doctors.
Let's get him.
He's like, I got to get him. It's like, bro, he might have a concussion. He's like, forget that. I can't have this guy in the game. In fact, I thought after that game that they were going to release Russell Wilson for his own sake. His family doesn't need to see him get abused as bad as those fans ripped him that day. And then when he comes out the game and Dart comes back in, it's like the new savior, right? At that particular point, if you're Brian Daboll, why not just move Jameis to number 2 and just let Russ get traded?
I've never understood why Jameis didn't start the season. I don't understand.
I don't understand it either. But after seeing that the other night, Rick, I'm more convinced than ever. They got to move on from Russ. I'm assuming they're waiting for the trade deadline, try to get something back for him, get him up out. You can't put him back on the football field. You can't. You can put anybody in there other than him. And the funny thing about Dart is 195 yards on 17 completions, right? He runs for 58 yards on 13 carries. But a lot like I felt about our guy Michael Vick and Cam Newton, if your numbers watching to determine their value, you ain't watching the game. You're not watching the game. No. Those aren't the kind of things that it's when he gets that 4th down or 3rd down run, or he gets the guys going. There are intangibles in there that quarterbacking does that aren't like Manning for 390 or Brady for 410. There's a lot of other things to it. And Scatterboo is a dude, man. He was doing it last year in college. Rick, if you watched, you know. Short, powerful running backs are difficult to deal with, and he fits the Giants. And listen, I think Brian Daboll may have found himself a little bit of an extension here. I believe if these guys can continue, they will take an 8-9 season with progress. I really believe they will. I really believe that. Meanwhile, The Philadelphia Eagles are the defending champs, Rick. I don't know what was worse. The fact that they only got 17 points on offense or the fact that they gave up 34 on defense. I don't know what's wrong with Philly. I do not know what's wrong with them. They started last Sunday finishing up. They were 4-0 Sunday morning. By Thursday night, they were 4-2 and trying to find out answers. There's so many player meetings and questions and we rallying and all this. Forget it. You're getting too complicated. You just get in there and play football.
Play the game. Yeah.
Rick, you've got Saquon Barkley, 12 carries for 58 yards. It's not going to get it done. Banged up offensive line on Rick. Gosh,
they did it against Denver. Why?
Same. And Saquon he's fresh as he can be. He's probably saying to himself, I haven't been this fresh since Penn State. Give me the football. Just all of a sudden they wanting to get cute. I think they're hearing the receivers a little bit.
That's what it is. It's A.J. Brown. They need to cut ties with A.J. Brown.
Or Rick, I something's got to give here because if you're trying to serve all these masters, you're going to end up serving none. Yeah. At the end of the day, get back to what you are. But here's the funny part. The Eagles had problems last year early. Same kind of thing. So I think they're on a bye week coming up soon, if I'm not mistaken. Not quite yet. But last year they had issues, and they rebounded and came back. They've got way too much talent to be punting around like this. 4 straight tush pushes, by the way, not very artistic for the NFL. Rick, I think this is going to be the last year of that, too.
It's got to go. It's got to go.
I mean, 4 straight tush pushes. They got to get rid of that. I wasn't that way for a while. I'm all in on it now. That's not what the sport
That's not football.
That's not what
football.
The sport is at all.
No.
So, meanwhile, Jalen throwing for 283 yards sounds like a really nice game. But he threw the ball 33 times, and they ran the ball 20 times. And Saquon Barkley getting 12 carries. I mean, good grief, Reef. That's embarrassing. Meanwhile, Goddard had 9 catches. A.J. Brown had 6 catches. Devontae Smith had 4 catches, and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the Eagles were 1 for 9 on third down. 1 for 9 on third down, which tells you they couldn't have had short third downs because they tush push and get every first down. So that means they were in third and long all night long. Here's the key takeaway. The Giants, 11 of 16 on third down against that Eagles defense. Not very good, so the Eagles are better get it together. They now got to go on the road and play the Vikings. A 3-2 Vikings team at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Meanwhile, the Giants host, they're at your Broncos. So the Scatterboo comes to the Mile High City. Baby.
Yeah, they'll beat Denver on Sunday. Mark it down.
We're not having that.
Yeah, Giants will beat Denver on Sunday.
No.
Yeah.
Sunday and I told Sunday you had your moment and you got out of London, get out of London, take the win and get out of there. But Rick, what did we say about this National Football League?
So bad.
Rick, every week, it happens every week. It happens every week. So I'm trying to keep you uplifted and you keeping your boys down like I keep my boys down.
I just sat there on Sunday like, wow. That was the effort you put forth? Really? That's what you did against that team? Okay.
What's your record, Rick?
4-2. Well, I guess.
Don't send it back. Don't apologize.
I know. Boy, oh boy. That was ugly. And hey, the Chiefs played a big game against the Lions. Imagine that, not having one penalty. Shocker! I'm stunned. It made more news than the actual win that the Chiefs can play a 4-quarter football game in the NFL. The Broncos had 15 penalties on Sunday. The Chiefs had 0 against a good team. Amazing how that works.
Rick, the conspiracy that I try to stay away from, it's hard to defend that. In fact, I'll bet you that crew got called in on this one. Like, you can't play a football game and have a team play 60 minutes and not have a penalty.
It's unbelievable.
Because that's actually embarrassing. I don't care who it is.
It happens all the time with them.
And that narrative has become the old Patriots narrative that I used to deal with as an AFC East fan of the Dolphins. It's like Tom Brady and them need more help. You know what I mean? It's like, and Rick, you do broadcasting of basketball games and you're right there, feet away from the court, and good teams don't need any more help. I've heard coaches say it a million times. Do they look like they need no calls? They're out here grabbing our guys, etc. The Chiefs, though, having said all of that, interestingly enough, and having no penalties will absolutely help you. And no question about it. They put up 30 points in the game, Rick. That team, coming off of that Monday night loss against Jacksonville, was 2-3. And in some ways, they were leaking a little bit. In fact, I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, you know what? This run that doesn't have a long shelf life is about to change, especially if they don't change the format of the team a little bit. In a had-to-win game, Patrick Mahomes, and Rick, let's just call it what it is. He's the baddest guy in the sport. He is. I don't care who wins the MVPs all over the place. Patrick Mahomes is the baddest guy in the sport. And why do I say that? Because he's doing it with smoke and mirrors. Now he's about to get some pieces back. Andy Reid is this guy. He threw for 257 in the game and 3 TDs. But the key to Kansas City was they finally got something out of the running game a little bit. 112 rushing yards in the game. Pacheco got 51. Mahomes still getting 32 in the game. Jared Goff for 203 yards in the game as well. Detroit, as it turns out, is right there with them. I just think that particular night, Kansas City played like champions, played like the team that was super desperate, and finally looked a little bit like themselves. And yes, if you don't have the penalties in the game, Rick, let's call it what it is. In fact, I watched the game, and I wasn't even realizing that they had no penalties in the game. I didn't realize it until I heard it on Monday on one of the talk shows. So again, the Chiefs are now at 3-3. They're sitting right there, right behind you guys, looking up at you all in the Chargers at 4-2 in that division. And so they're getting ready to play the Raiders at home, the 2-4 Raiders on Sunday. Meanwhile, for Detroit, the game ended kind of rough, and with the scrap at the end of the game. Not very good in that regard. I think he got suspended. They are now 4-2. They're getting ready to play probably the game of the week coming up. They play the 5-1 Tampa Bay Bucks, who we should be talking about more, and we have not. That's a 7:00 Monday night game. Excuse me, not on Sunday. That's a 7:00 Monday night game on ABC.
All right, what's the hot four look like now this week?
Bro, this was kind of tough, but it kind of wasn't tough. As you look at this thing, it had to go this way, and I'm not really sold on it, but our hot four applauds and appreciate wins. We are all about wins and fewer losses, as long as it's valuable wins. The Green Bay Packers have snuck back in at 3-1-1 at our number 4 spot. They beat the Bengals in a not great game, 27-18. The Bengals playing with Joe Flacco, who had been there about an hour and a half on Sunday. So they're at the 4 spot. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin's got those boys at 4-1. No one's talking about them. Aaron Rodgers is quiet. They're 4-1. They beat the Browns 23-9 with Dylan Gabriel at quarterback. The Browns offense is looking putrid right now. But the Steelers, again, stacking up wins. I got the Colts at number 2. They're 5-1. Again, wins matter. They beat Arizona in a 31-27 game. You're not going to be perfect all the time. Find ways to win games. There's 17 of these. Whoever ends up with the most of them is going to get the best seed. The Colts are sitting at the 2 seed right now in the hot 4. Tampa Bay Bucks, the number 1, Rick. They're 5-1. They've played the best football this year. They've got a quarterback who's playing with a chip on his shoulder and making plays. They beat the Niners on Sunday, a really good Niners team on Sunday. And Todd Bowles right now should be the NFL Coach of the Year. I'm wondering why he hadn't probably already gotten it. Rick, they've won 4 division crowns in a row, if I'm not mistaken. They are now 5-1. They beat the Niners 30-19. That is the hot 4 for this week.
All right. How'd we do on our picks, and who are we looking at this week?
Well, Rick, I went 4-1 this week. My only loss was the Commanders, and you went 2-3. Your losses were you had the Jags over the Seahawks. You had the Lions over the Chiefs, and we both had the Commanders last night. So you're at 2-3. That puts you at 9-11 on the season. That puts me at 10-10 on the season. So we're a game apart as we move into week number 7. Did I say that? Week 7, bro. Already NFL, it comes fast and it goes fast. So we're gonna start with the Sunday morning game, the 4-2 Rams and the 4-2 Jags from England on Sunday. Who do you like, Rick?
England. Jeez. I hate games in England. I know that. I'm gonna go with the Rams. They're the better team. The Jags losing that game at home. They're frauds. Jags are frauds.
Well, I just flipped. I'm going to take the Jags. Why? Because anything abroad is their home field. So I'm going to take them and kind of see if they can give me one of those games that I shouldn't be counting on, but I'm going to count on. So we're going to try that and see. We got the 4-2 Eagles at the 3-2 Vikings, a 1:00 Fox game on Sunday.
Ooh, Eagles are in free fall, aren't they? Only the Vikings are very good. I'm going to go with the Eagles. They're going to get adjusted on the road.
I got the Eagles, too. I'm going to take the Eagles. I think, kind of like the Chiefs, they know how to win. You just feel like they'll rally in that game, albeit on the road.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it goes. And I don't know if the Vikings quarterback, I know they got Wentz and McCaffrey's. JJ's back, so McCarthy's back. So we're going to see how that goes. The 3-3 Commanders at the 2-3-1 Dallas Cowboys. There's your Cowboys-Redskins old game, if you will, even though they're the Commanders now. 4:25 Fox game on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Washington's in free fall, man. I don't know. That was a terrible loss. I'm going to go Dallas at home. I'm going to go Dallas at home.
I'm going to take the Commanders. I feel like I don't even know why. My family loves Washington, so I'm going to take them. My kid, my daughter and son-in-law like the Cowboys, and just going to go with Washington and see how it goes in this one. All right, Rick. Probably the game of the week. 5-1 Bucks at 4-2 Lions. Lions coming off of a tough loss against the Chiefs. Bucks riding high after the win against the Niners.
Bucks, and more Bucks.
I got to go Dan Campbell. I'm going to go Dan Campbell and those Fighting Lions. I think the Lions will get, and that's going to be back in Detroit. Detroit will be ready to go in that game. And then finally, and by the way, Rick, once again, 2 Monday night games, which is one of your favorites. I don't know if you like that more. I think you hate that as much as you hate the games abroad.
It's just so stupid.
So the 10 o'clock game is the Texans. The 2-3 Texans are at the Seahawks at 10 o'clock next Monday night.
Seattle, late night on a Monday.
Do I even try to go against that? No, I won't. We'll go with the Seahawks as well on that one and see how things play out. And so there it is, Rick. There's our 5 games for week number 7. We've already given you the hot 4, and we will see what surprises are in store for the NFL as we move on through the season, brother.
All right, brother. Great to see you as always, man. And I love seeing you and Pebbles. Congratulations, the first husband and wife team in the Radford's Athletics Hall of Fame. How about that?
Certainly honored to have it, man. And Pebbles is my girl, and we're excited for her. And so, like everything in my life, she gives me assists all the time. And I'm more than glad to take them. More than glad to.
Absolutely. Well, she was good at it, so she's still good at it. So,
still good at it.
There you go.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank
all
you,
right,
Rick.
brother. Take care, man.
Yes, sir. All right, boy.
David Smith, the best. There you go. You're not going to find the NFL talked about like that. We have one more guest coming up, but before I do that, let me I have a shade now. See this sun right here? Look what I would look like. Hang on. It might be better, by the way, if you didn't see me. But we're going to go over here and try to take care of this and see if I can figure this out. There goes that. And we're going to do this. There we go. Woo! Now, there we go. Oh, look at that. Shade works. Cool. The sun recently had become a problem, so I decided to go ahead and put up a shade. There we go. Hey, that is good. Technology is a wonderful thing. All right. Keep it coming in our chat room. A lot of people got fired up earlier. Damien Sordelett, good stuff. Also, hit us up on the Professional Door text line. Joining us now on the program. And again, I've never done this show without Mike Burnop. I never will. Mike Burnop joins us. What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you? You look like you're like in some kind of silhouette. You're coming in and out, and the shade's going. I mean, you got like the disco lights working. Where's your round ball?
What it is, when I shut the shade, they're still going back and forth. They're still kind of moving back and forth. So yeah. So that's good.
That's big.
It is the
Not
way
everybody can do
that. Mike Burnop, of course, brought to you because of Louise Baker and her generosity. The Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382, nrvhomes.com. Well, let's get into the game. Mike, the thing that stood out to me was how incredibly hard those kids played. I went back and watched, and I was like, you know what? They were overmatched in certain areas. They fell behind 18-0. They got it down to a 1-score game. Georgia Tech's really good. They have a great quarterback. But from a Tech fan perspective, Philip Montgomery continues to have these guys come out despite everything that's happened and give premium effort, man. And I think that is a major accomplishment with everything when you have to take all that consideration.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, he's got them playing it as hard as they can play. I mean, there's a lot of young kids out there, especially on defense, especially the other day when so many guys were banged up. And, you know, you got a guy out there like George Balance playing the most snaps he's probably ever played in college. You know, he came out with 8 tackles in the game. So, yeah, and you got a lot of young guys in the secondary playing, freshmen, true freshmen and whatnot. And, yeah, he's doing the best he can to kind of try to keep them together. This open date couldn't come at a better time. I mean, a lot of teams have already had theirs, but the Hokies, this is 7 games in. You figure that whole month of August you've been practicing, and 7 straight games, 7 weeks banged up.
That's right.
Yeah, they need an open date. And then they're going to play 2 games to get another one before that final stretch of 3. 3 games against Florida State, Miami, and UVA. But, falling behind 18-0 was tough. The first quarter, they had 42 yards in penalties in the first quarter. Made some mistakes in the kicking game. When that punt went up the sideline and the whole cover team was on the other side of the field, that was crazy because then Georgia Tech got the short field. I think they got the ball at the 44-yard line.
Yeah.
And ended up scoring. So, little things like that just cost you. And then you got to dig your way out of the hole. And, a couple of untimely penalties. You got a penalty on a kickoff, for gosh sakes. Now, how does that happen? A touchback and you get a penalty, an illegal block. Little things like that just kind of set you back some. And, in all, they had 10 penalties in the game, which is too many. But, again, a bunch of young kids are out there. They're trying. They're playing hard. And I thought the officials missed some calls, when Takai Heath was hit out of bounds late.
He was
ridiculous. And then Cody Heisman was held a couple times. The guy had his arm all the way around his waist, and he right in front of the official, and they didn't see it. So stuff like that. The teams that are good and undefeated a lot of times get those calls, right? So that's just the way it is. You got to deal with it and move along. So I thought coming out in the second half, they played good. They got that drive and got a touchdown right away in the second half, which was encouraging. So then, like you said, it was a 1-score game. But then, boy, you just couldn't stop them. That offensive line was big.
They were good.
I thought Malachi Hosley had a heck of a game, 120-some yards. And
he's good back.
Haynes King wasn't. I mean, he hurts you on short yardage situations, Rick, which you thought, he's got like a 70% conversion rate on third down and shorts, converting third downs. Haynes King does, but he only had 60 yards, I think, in the game. So
right.
It wasn't him. It was Hosley that got you, and Haynes had a good game. He had, I think, 69 yards. So, yeah, the running game got it. I mean, they gave up way too many yards, over 260 yards, and they, 200 and some over the passing too. So they're a good team. They deserve their ranking, and Coach, Brent Key does a great job with them. So hopefully they can keep the thing going here and get in that championship game. Have one good team in the ACC because Clemson and Florida State are, what they thought the first of the year was kind of gone down.
That's right. And you can kind of see a correlation, Mike, right? When Tech hasn't been able to stop the running game of their opponents is when they really, really struggle. And I know that's for everybody across the country, but those were, as you mentioned, those are some gaudy numbers. I've been almost averaged 7 yards a carry on Saturday.
Yeah, that was tough. And 3 games in a row, they'd held the opponent under 100 yards rushing. So that was a little bit of a surprise, but you knew they were going to get some yards just because they had a potent offense. But their defense, was surprised. Of course, in the first half, when you went back and looked, Rick, I think the Hokies only had 21 snaps in that first half. I mean, Georgia Tech dominated time of possession. That thing could have gotten more out of hand, really.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because they had twice as many snaps almost. I think they had the ball almost 11 minutes in the second quarter. And, so they just again, they went in halftime, made some adjustments, clawed their way back, and got it to a 1-score game. And, Drones would love to have that interception back. I thought he made some nice runs in the game. But that interception, I don't know if it came out of his hand wrong or what, but that thing was so far away overthrown. Not sure what happened on that. But, Stewart got some carries. I thought he looked good, but, he might not have been 100%. So hopefully they can get him well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, those little things just kind of add up to you. And the biggest thing is trying to get healthy, especially on that offensive line. My goodness, those guys are so banged up. They're piecing it together. Just a big old Band-Aid every week.
It is. Well, whatever the record ends up being and whatever you see, I just kudos to Bill Montgomery and the coaching staff because it would be so easy for that team just to – I see it every Saturday. You do too. I see teams who blatantly don't care. You can see it on the field. You can't hide it. Tech has never given off that vibe one time. Maybe when they got down, maybe when they were getting beat up by Old Dominion, their dauber was down and you didn't see a lot of effort late. But I haven't seen it ever since the transition from coaches. I haven't seen it one time. So
yeah, and it's unfortunate they lost that Wake Forest game because it might have been a different story with that momentum going, having won 3 in a row. But they just couldn't get over the hump in the Wake game. And so you go to Georgia Tech, an undefeated team coming off a bye week. They were fresh and kind of looked like that early in the game because they marched right down the field and scored. And it was they got the Hokies in a hole, and really never looked back. That's hard when you're down 18-0. You know, they caught them off guard on that 2-point conversion after they scored right away. And, you know, those little things add up. But yeah, they are playing hard. You got to give it to Coach Monty. He's done a heck of a job with them in some adverse, to say the least, circumstances. And, you know, like you said, it's happened everywhere. Look what happened at Penn State. My goodness. That team was preseason number 2 or something. And now they're out of the top 25. They fire their coach. They're due $50 million. It's like, I should have went to coaching, brother.
Everybody's like, oh, he's got to be the next. I'm like, he may not want to coach for a while. Why would he? Just chill out a little bit, right? Refresh the batteries. I mean, people aren't considering that. Yeah.
You like Jimbo. Just get up there and run your mouth and talk all day, right?
Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? Well, and to think about, too, people just are ignoring how much that team quit on him. It happened in the UCLA game. They didn't show up on Saturday. He lost that team. You can just open your eyes and see. But yet, telling you, Tech fans can't wait. They think James Franklin's the answer.
Well, see who gets fired next week, and then that guy might be the answer.
That might be the answer. That's right. That's exactly
it's always the trend, right?
That's right. That's right.
The Axe this week. Oh, man, they'd be great here. That's the way it goes.
Yeah, it is the way it goes. Mike Burnop joins us on the program, and Louise Baker is the best. The Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-328-0382. And, you know, I was at the National Bank function, and Louise just started – everybody kept talking about Louise. Well, you and I talk about the kind of person that she is, and I don't know anybody who speaks anything negatively about Louise, ever.
I know. She's awesome. She's just the best, and – got known her for years and years and years. Always used to look forward to going up to the Pulaski County Hockey Club in the summertime at Randolph Park. And Louise was always there. It had great barbecue, and we always got to chat a little bit. But she was a great Hokie and a heck of a realtor. She's had a wonderful career herself in her own world. And if you got any real estate needs, she's the one to talk to. She'll take care of you.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Mike Burnop in his 43rd year calling games in Blacksburg. So Tech's going to take the week off. Hopefully get some healthy bodies here soon. That offensive line, like you say, do you know there are guys that are pretty close to coming back so they can start to rebuild that depth on the offensive line?
Well, you know, Montgomery Cunningham, he played in a couple games, then he got hurt, and then came back and played a little bit. So I'm thinking they certainly want to try to get him back and get him healthy. Johnny Garrett, you know, has come out a couple times, been banged up, and hopefully he'll get to be back at 100%. And, you know, so some of those guys, you just hope that, and again, the younger guys can maybe get some more experience and depth. They won't practice the older guys much this week. They're just going to go a couple of days. They're going to do a lot of recruiting, get out on the road, which is probably difficult to say the least when you're recruiting. And, you know, kids are probably saying, well, who's going to be the coach? You know, how do you answer that? So, yeah, that's a tough situation for all those guys, but they're doing what's best for Virginia Tech and trying to keep the thing going. And you got to tip your hat to them in that regard. So they want what's best for Virginia Tech in the program. And, you know, Monty loves it here. Him and his wife, they love it here. She came on a radio show last week, and they talked about how their family had been just hit by Alzheimer's so bad, and they're going to have that walk. And they're sponsoring the team and all that sort of stuff.
That's
coming
great.
up Sunday after Louisville, I believe it is. And so, yeah, they're just a great family. And whatever happens down the road, I'm sure he'll be fine. But, gosh, he's done a great job at this.
He has, and I think no matter what happens, every Tech fan should be able to applaud and just give a nod and always think of that guy in the highest regard, even if he's somewhere else, which he likely will be if he's not named the head coach. I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle how he's gotten his team focused every week.
Yeah, it is. He's done a heck of a job, and they respond to him. You know, they're having fun in practice, and you know, it's been a different vibe around there, and you know, you got to change up stuff when you have a coaching change. You can't do the same stuff. And, you know, he changed up practice a little bit. He's done some different things in that regard as well. So, yeah, good for him.
Well, we know now things are going to kind of quiet down a little bit. That was made clear yesterday. To be honest, I'm all for it. Just I know the fans are upset. I get it. But in terms of the messaging, and you want to go through this process and you want things to kind of go a certain way, you kind of got to keep as much differentials of information getting out there, don't you?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, you can't have a public forum out there and just be wide open with everybody commenting in different directions. And, you know, you got to be one voice, and when the time comes, that'll happen. And so, yeah, I thought that was good, and takes away all the speculation of, you know, hey, so-and-so wants you on the radio show. Well, no, that's not going to happen.
That's right.
We can't talk to you, or you can't give us this information. So, and now there's so many jobs out there. It's like everybody's going to be jockeying for position, right, to try to get it. And it's like the leash is getting so short on so many people. I mean, every week it seems like more and more are getting fired. And so the question is, who is it this week? You know, 7-8 games in, it's like, okay, let's get a jump on this thing.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way it's set up with Franklin. The embarrassing UCLA loss, it was in the media all week. As soon as I saw that final score, they showed that shot of him standing on the field at the end of the game. He knew it was over. And now you're hearing the same thing with Luke Fickell in Wisconsin. It's almost the same type of thing. It's not getting as publicized because it's Wisconsin, but if he has another loss this week, I mean, there's another one. It's just going to continue. It's going to become more competitive, right, to find a coach each and every week, it seems.
Yeah, it is. And, you know, a lot of these guys will resurface. A lot of them will probably want to get back into coaching right away. Some of them probably won't. They'll want to sit out and just kind of like, hey, recharge the battery and see what happens. And see what's out there and all. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how many jobs there are open and how attractive they are. I still think Virginia Tech is one of the most attractive ones out there just because of the money that they're going to put into the program, the fan support, the facilities, and obviously Penn State's, you know, that's going to be a great job for somebody as well. But the pressure up there following that guy after what he did was going to be enormous. And they've got the resources, the facilities, they got everything they need, but they're not going to put up with losing. And, you know, you might be starting from scratch. Just because you fire Franklin doesn't mean you're going to hire somebody that's going to win next year.
That's right.
And then what are you going to be like? Okay, we're $50 million in the hole. We paid another 50 to get a new staff in here, and then they're losing. So, you know, there's no guarantees when you change coaches that you're going to be successful, and that transfer portal is going to be a big part of it, obviously. So, yeah, it's just not a fun time in college football when you think about what it used to be, and guys were loyal to the program. You didn't have all this mess on your hands and NIL and the portal and people leaving and going to 4 schools in your college career. I mean, it's just it got out of hand.
It has. Mike Burnop joining us on the program, courtesy of Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, nrbhomes.com, 540-320-0382. Well, Mike, we're just about 3 weeks away from hoops season, and there's lots of optimism around Tech. And Coach Young, just every time you see him, kind of gives you a sly grin and goes, I like these guys. And that's good. That should be good news to all Tech fans.
Yeah, we were at practice last week, and he did that. He came over. He says, we got a chance to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Looking at him, Coach. I mean, they look good on the hoof. I mean, that Neo's great. 6'9". You got a 6'9" guy that can handle the ball like he can and be the point guard and run down the court and pass. He's just an exceptional passer. And, you know, it was like Mutt and Jeff out there watching him and Ben Hammond on the same court running in the back court for him. It's like, holy cow. And that frees Ben up a little bit, but you got a lot more options at ball handling. The turnovers is what killed them last year. That drove Coach crazy. And so that's going to be much better. I think they'll be a better rebounding team. They get up and down the court much better. That Dorn kid at 7 feet tall, he's a hoss, man. That guy's big. And Armani Hansberry, I mean, they got some talent now. So hopefully they can put it all together, and it'll be fun to watch them kind of get acclimated. They got that exhibition game against Duquesne after the Saturday after Cal, and having a basketball tip-off banquet that night with the NIT team back from 1995 with Ace Custis.
That's cool.
David Jackson. Yeah, they're going to have those guys back in the house. So that's going to be fun to get them back on campus and see what they're up to. So it's always good to get those groups back.
Real quick, Mike, looking ahead, of course, Louisville's at Miami this week with Tech being off. You get to enjoy some football. You get to kind of chill out a little bit this week in terms of football. And then that's the Friday game. But then that Georgia Tech-Duke game, I think, is huge because Duke is really playing well. And we're going to find out how good Georgia Tech is, I think, in that game. Georgia Tech's actually underdogs. But how are you looking at the top of the league? Obviously, Miami's kind of separated himself. You saw Georgia Tech up close and personal. Did you get the kind of impression that they are a serious contender this year in the ACC?
I think, yeah. I mean, you look at their schedule; it's not that hard the rest of the way. And obviously they got to play Georgia, but that game really doesn't count in terms of the ACC. So yeah, I mean, I think they'll be right there in the thick of it at the end because of Haynes King, and barring he gets hurt. But they've got a lot of weapons on offense, and their offensive line is really good. Now their defense needs some work. They were last in the league against the run, and the Hokies couldn't quite take as good advantage of that as we had hoped. But yeah, I think they're certainly there. But Miami's the cream of the crop, and I think UVA's obviously pretty daggone good as well. So we'll see. I mean, Louisville's been up and down like a yo-yo a little bit, but I think they do have a lot of talent, and so. Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch these last few weeks of the game, see what happens with Clemson. Have they rebounded? Have they kind of got back on track a little bit? And what happens to Florida State? I think they go out to Stanford, which should be a win, but even though you're going about as far across country as you can go.
Right.
That should get them back on track, you would think. But, if they quit on Mark Norvell like they did last year, I don't know.
Exactly. They did. They're 2-10. If they go out there and lose that game, there might be another opening the following Monday. I'm just saying, keep an eye on that situation.
That could be. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's interesting. And Pitt, Narduzzi, that guy, nobody ever talks about Pitt. They made a change at quarterback. They won their last two, the last one at Florida State. I'm keeping an eye on the Panthers a little bit too. They might sneak back up at this thing a little bit. They always play well this time of year.
Yeah, they do. And give him credit. I mean, he benched his veteran quarterback. He's probably a ton of money, right? And they bring in the new guy, and he's just done nothing but win for him. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that luck will run out sometime. But yeah, these guys playing well, and I think the last game of the year, doesn't Miami play Virginia Tech and Pitt last?
Yes.
So they could be in for a tough ending like they had last year, and that kept them out of the playoffs.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
So yeah, you never know. A lot of football left to be played, and it's certainly going to be fun to watch.
It will be. It will be. And it's always fun to talk to Mike Burnop. Thanks again to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors. And Mike, enjoy your week off. I know you're going to be busy still, but still, you get to kind of not travel. I know that's always welcome this time of year.
No, I know. It'll be fun and get a little chill time. The weather looks like it's going to be pretty good out today, and after a kind of a gloomy weekend. But, yeah, looking forward to it and watching some games. And, yeah. Thanks again to Louise, and thank you. And I'm glad you got that sun out of your eyes finally.
Yeah, I got to go. It's good now. It's shade, technology. I worked on that last night. Had to get that. I knew because it's going to be sunny the rest of the week. And usually this time of day is when it was like,
Yeah. Hello, Rick. Good morning.
Yeah, it looked like I had just been lifted up into the heavens most days when that light was hitting me. So
don't go there too early.
No, I don't want to go there too early. All right, brother. Listen, have a great week, man, and enjoy your weekend off.
Okay, sounds good, Rick. Thanks.
Appreciate it. There you go. The great Mike Burnop joining us on the program. And he is great. Mike is so good. Better person, too, than he is on air. And that's, I mean that. Mike is just salt of the earth. He is. Thanks to Louise Baker. Louise, thank you so much if you're out there. The Louise Baker team, Long and Foster Realtors, 540-320-0382. Good stuff all the way around. Great stuff today in the chat. People fired and wired. Jim said, consider Franklin and other coaches with huge buyouts. If they agree to a pay-for-performance contract, no buyout clauses. The buyouts are ridiculous in college football. What Penn State's willing to give, I think for all the people, I'm just going to say this to play devil's advocate, for all the people who are all over the James Franklin bandwagon, and I'm telling you, they are. I'm hearing from you. That school was willing to eat $50 million to remove him as their head coach. That has to mean something. Our turn, the sponsor of our BDST fan question of the week, the attorney Ryan Pride. Jim, he agrees. Franklin's agent is Jimmy Sexton. Great point. They're not going to agree to anything like that. It's going to be a $10 to $12 million cost to hire a James Franklin if he wants to be the head coach. If he wants to be in coaching, who knows? I don't see that happening at all, Jimmy. That's what Damien brought up that got people fired up. There's no way Brent Pry is brought back to the staff at Blacksburg. It's a very unique thing. Now, the Broncos did it are doing it now in the NFL with Vance Joseph, who was a failed head coach. His teams failed not because of the defenses, because he's a defensive coordinator and he knows defense, but he was the guy that Sean Payton wanted to hire. He talked to the new ownership and said, I know he was here. He left in good standing and it's had success. But I just don't see anybody tech supporting wanting to say, hey, let's bring that guy back on staff. It just would make no sense to me. We don't know the kind of relationship that Pry and Franklin truly have now anyway. Yeah, we do need Paul. I think now more than ever, we need to have the super fan roundtable. We'll do that. Let's see. I'll have to look at my schedule. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna have to happen here soon before hoops. Tech is off this week. You know what? We could do that Saturday. And what you'll do is you'll just send me your email. You don't have to put it up in chat. But, send me your email on the text line or something. And then what I do is I send you an invite. We can get up to 6 people on the screen. I'd kind of like to try that out anyway. Maybe we do that this Saturday. I'll tell you what, here's what I guarantee. It'll happen either this Saturday or next Saturday. How's that, Paul? That's right. Probably got a buyout too. So you're going to be bringing him back while you're paying him a buyout? I've had a lot of people ask about that, by the way, which I appreciate. Just going on and inviting people on. And that's what I want to do. So I'll do that. So let's see. I'll tell you what. Let's see how the week goes for me this week. I have a game Saturday afternoon at 2 to broadcast. So I might be available that evening. But the next weekend might work a little better. No Speedos allowed if we do the fan forum. Well, you can have them on. Just make sure your camera's like this. We don't need any of that. So maybe I'll tell you what, we'll see how the week goes. Tech plays next Friday. It might make more sense to do it the following Saturday, which would be off the top of my head, the 25th. Because then you could also talk about the Tech game on Friday. Tech fan wouldn't have to worry about a game on Saturday. So why don't we loosely, right now, why don't we plan on the 25th for being when we have the random live. Now, remember, it's going to be live evening session. Why don't we plan on the 25th? Because with Tech not playing, it kind of takes away from it a little bit. So they have the Friday night game. That's a game they could win, right? You might have a good vibe going into the Saturday chat. So why don't we plan on the 25th? Because I also have a broadcast at 2 that Saturday. So I'm thinking that evening, not too late afternoon, as you get into the second half of those 3:30 games before the evening session. But that doesn't really matter. The games will be on and we'll update the games. Yes, bring your favorite beverage. So let's plan on the 25th. Let's just go ahead and make it a date. It just makes more sense. Tech game on Friday. Then we'll do that Saturday evening, and you just send me your email, and I send you invites like I do all the other guests. And we'll try to if we get a lot of people who want in, we'll have the chat open. So if you want to contribute that way. Morris says, and for the love of God, don't allow a listener streaking on the program 6 at a time. Holy hell. No, Wayne. No, there's no Panera tailgate. No. We want the chat to be successful. We don't want that in any way, shape, or form. If you're cooking that day, let me know what you got. Yeah, this could turn into fun. I've been wanting to do it for a while. We'll see what kind of response we get. And I'll build it up too. But let's plan on it. Let's give a hard date, the 25th. That evening, late afternoon into evening. October 25th will be our fan super chat here on the channel. Wayne says he's out already because he can't streak. Lamb and mint jelly indeed, Morris. Remember, streaking is back on and allowed if the whole Nick Saban thing would ever happen. It's not. It's never going to happen, but just saying. Then anything goes. As always, please subscribe, like, and share our channel. Again, if you get one person that you know, if you're a subscriber, to subscribe, boom, we're there. Need your help, as always, promoting what we do here on the channel. So please help us out in that regard. Thanks to all of our guests today. Thanks to Marva in Miami, Damien Sordelett. He got everybody fired and wired today. David Smith and Mike Burnop. Tomorrow is the hashtag streaking for Saban. There would be a party for like a week or two. And that would be okay. That would be okay. We don't even know if Nick Saban really wants to ever coach again, first of all. We're just having fun. By the way, I always worry about, did you hear what he said? Did you hear what Rick said? Rick said that Tech's going to hire Nick Saban. No. Or just like, did you hear what Rick said? Rick's going to hire, Tech's going to hire Ryan Silverfield. No. Just said that there's reciprocal information that they're sharing. They kind of want to have a conversation. It's nothing to do with the hiring him. Tomorrow, Hump Day Wednesday edition. I'm not even sure what all's going on Wednesday. We'll let you know. Follow I'll send the guest list out as it develops throughout the course of the day. But right off the top of my head, I don't know. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow. All right, great stuff as always from you in chat. Thanks to all of our sponsors yet again, one more time. We want to thank them all one by one. Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated 38 years. Appreciate everybody. I've already had a couple people say they're going to need to call because their garage doors busted last week. Thanks to National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of BDST. Thank you very much. Lara Ramsey and Company. They are the best. They've been in my bank for 35 years. National Bank. There they are. Boom. Boom. And there's Professional Door. Boom. Boom. And there's Family Fencing. Family Fencing, of course, a sponsor of our studio here on BDST, 540-200-8294. Give them a call at familyfencingnrv.com. Jason Green and Company. They do a great job. Great people. McClellan Chiropractic. Thanks to Mark Hunley. Our chat room bursts every day. You're getting a lot of bang for your buck, Marco. Today, thank you, Louise Baker, for sponsoring Mike Burnop. Go see Louise if you have a house you need to sell, property you need to sell, you're trying to buy. Don't waste your time. Go see her. Harvey's GM in Radford. I bought my last 3 vehicles from Brad Harvey. He's the best. They're the best. Getting my vehicle serviced today, as a matter of fact, down there. Called yesterday. They got me in immediately today. They're awesome. They're awesome. Pulaski County is the presenting sponsor. Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment, presenting sponsor of this program. People, we've already been talking about all the things they do. People are very excited to hear about more and more of the things that they do. And we're going to have a lot of time to spread the word. Very exciting time. Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to the attorney Ryan Pry in Radford, 701 West Main Street. We're going to have a lot of folks, I think, before all's said and done. I'm not going to update you right now, but we're already up to like 45, 46 responses about the James Franklin question. Do you want James Franklin to be your next coach in Blacksburg? So we'll update you on that as the week goes by. NRV Super Bowl, thanks to them, they've been in business for 25 years. Boogie Bowl is coming up for Halloween. Call them 540-382-5525. And thanks to James Lawson, Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. They've been the place to go since 1997. They're huge supporters of local sports here in the area, especially Tech and Radford. And go see them, 540-381-8011. Thank you, the audience. You're why I come in every day. You're awesome. It's so much fun. And I hope we make your day a little bit bigger and better. I really do. You make mine. So I hope I can, share the love. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow as we slide over Hump Day together. So long, everybody. Enjoy the rest.